Here we go again. On the people's platform, fighting for our rights. We weather every storm. Talking heads shout, but the truth won't fall. We rise up, united, unified, we stand tall. Here we go again.
Push back against the lies. Democrats, Republicans, we see through the skies. Let's debate it loud, no fear of the fight. We're taking back the night.
Flew with $120,000 in a backpack and gave this lady a list that said, just say white supremacy.
Some would say the officer was justified. I'll leave that to the lawyers, but what I will say, he was morally wrong.
Fuck all these other countries. Let them deal with their own problems, and let's deal with our problems at home. We got homeless veterans. We got homeless people. We got people that are begging for food on the streets.
What do you guys think of this whole, polarization in politics change, where either you're extremely left or extremely right type of thing?
Can we stop acting like the woman was driving like 30, 40 fucking miles an hour?
What's going on, everybody? We're gonna have to put Ken on that intro now. He keeps showing up. Rob, you look like a biker, man.
Well, I do ride a Harley, so there's that.
You running stolen bikes across the country or what?
Not right now. It's negative 12 and about a negative 28 wind chill where I'm at. So there's no riding of motorcycles right now.
Yeah, I bet.
That's funny. I just put air in my tires. I'm going to ride in the morning.
I hate you, Ken.
So what you guys think about that shooting that happened today? I know everybody's got their opinions and whatnot.
Well, I'll go last.
He said, "I'll go last." I'll start it out if everyone's scared to.
What's the question, Bill?
What's your thoughts on that, on the shooting that just happened today?
It was murder.
Yeah, out of what I seen in the very start of the altercation, the ICE agent did disarm him. So I don't know.
It was
pretty ugly. It looks pretty ugly for the officer. I'm gonna have to say that is definitely murder.
To me, I wouldn't go. I'm thinking secondary murder, but not for every ICE agent involved. I think only for the guy that's giving him the extra rounds while he's already down. You got to think, and if we're looking at the Second Amendment and we're looking at the fact that this guy is a VA guy, this guy works with vets. He honored a vet that passed away just recently. He has the right to bear those arms. He didn't reach for it. He didn't go for it. He didn't walk up threatening ICE. He saw a lady get pushed down. He attempted to help her up, and next thing you know, he's being gang tackled, maced, pistol whipped. My main thing is, if you already got the man down, if you got so much good training that these guys claim to have, they claim to have like military training that they go through and all this type of stuff and cop training, how can't you subdue one guy and there's 5 of you? How can he should be able to get subdued without losing his life, man? I'll stop there.
Speaking of military training, I spent 29 years in the Army. I was in the Ordnance Corps. I'm a weapons expert. I'm a maintenance expert. I'm a logistics expert. Here's what I do know. I'm going to start in the middle, but then I'm going to back up to the front of this thing. Everything that I've seen in the videos, while the scrum was happening, the first shot originated from the bottom of the scrum. Here's the second thing I know. The pistol that was shown to be involved was a Sig Sauer P320, which is of the platform that the Army adopted to replace the M9 Beretta, the sidearm, for a pistol. That weapon has been recalled and paused because of trigger issues, because of negligent discharges. You drop it, it fires. You bang it, it fires. There was an incident on Fort Benning where a major shot himself through the leg and came out his kneecap and everything while his pistol was holstered on a drop carry holster on the side of his leg because of a negligent discharge. The weapon is known to have ND problems. Okay. So I cannot tell from the video whether the man was pulling it, whether the officers had pulled it, or whether it got bumped and it negligently discharged. The first shot came from the bottom of the scrum. I do know that much. After that, when they backed up, they did what any military or any law enforcement does after a shot has been fired. You are taught to shoot until it changes shape or catches fire. Basically, you neutralize the target until it stops moving. Here's something else that I do know. this man, and regardless of any of that, does any of those actions warrant a death sentence? Absolutely not. There's no need for any of this to happen. But his family also released a statement that said he attends protests regularly because it's his way of showing that he cares about the common person and everything. He was there on purpose. He was not passing by. He wasn't going to the bus stop or whatever. He was there for the protest. Secondly, if he was not there for the protest, he'd be at home with his family tonight.
And CNN at this very moment showing a video where he started out in the middle of the street and moved his way towards that white Hyundai.
Yes.
So that narrative, oh, he was just on the sidewalk and he went to help a woman. No, he was on the street.
He involved himself. And
so he doesn't have the right to be there.
Or not, there is video real quick. There is video that has been released from that white Hyundai. Because I don't know if you can tell in some of the other video, but you can see that person's holding a phone up. You don't see much of what happened as far as when the shot's fired, but you do hear when they're sitting there, and it's
let me finish my train quick here.
Ken, go ahead and finish your train,
Rob. Secondly, he decided to insert himself into the situation. It's not yet interfering with a law enforcement action when he helped that woman up, but he inserted himself into the situation. Had he not done that, even though he moved to the area, he would still be alive and he would still be sitting with his family tonight. Third, when law enforcement put his hands on him, especially knowing that you're carrying concealed, he still resisted and fought, which is the most monumentally stupid fucking thing you can do. If you've had any kind of firearms training, any kind of weapons training, if law enforcement puts their hands on you and you're carrying, you freeze, you stop, you inform them that you are carrying a firearm, tell them that you will not move your hands. Ask them, how would you like to proceed, sir or ma'am? He didn't. It's on video. He resisted and fought him all the way to the ground. One of the most monumentally stupid things I've ever seen in my life from somebody who knows that they have a firearm on them. Now, why would a person do that? Maybe because they think that because of all the Nazi rhetoric and everything else that they're justified in doing it. And if they're justified in doing it, there won't be consequences. Unfortunately, real life situations don't care about your feelings, your cause, or anything else. The consequence was a firearm was discharged either by him, by accident, or by the law enforcement. One way or another, the truth is going to come out. If the cops discharged the firearm for him, then the entire group of them should be charged on manslaughter, and the person that mag dumped into him until he quit moving should be charged with murder. If it was a negligent discharge, I don't see how you're going to put anybody on the hook for it, because of the fact that he had 3 different opportunities to not be in that situation. 1, he didn't have to show up to the protest. 2, he didn't have to walk across the street and insert himself into it. 3, he didn't have to fucking resist when they were taking him down. Those 3 choices are choices he made consciously. Unfortunately, he paid a terrible consequence for it.
I'll give you the resistant part, Rob. Go ahead, Ken.
Well, I'm saying, and look at, like, I know Kristi Noem's catching flack for her comments, but part of what she said is definitely not wrong. Why don't we have this problem in the state I live in right now, Florida? Why don't we see this happening in Texas? Why are we not seeing this happening in Arkansas or South Dakota or North Dakota or West Virginia? Because in those states, the politicians and the police don't sit there and the politicians don't tell people to actively resist ICE and to interfere with ICE operations. In these states, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, county law enforcement engage with ICE to remove these people with documentation orders, with deportation orders, to get them detained and swiftly move them out of the country.
What list?
But we get hold on.
What list?
But what we get here in Minnesota, right, is just the opposite, where you got the governor saying, we don't want ICE here. We don't want you to arrest these people and deport them. And then they call them thugs, Nazis, invading armies. They use this language that gets some people incitable. And now you find these people inserting themselves in situations they do not need to be in. Like, look, do you think the person that's being deported really cares enough about you that you should insert yourself into the situation where you could, as we've seen now twice in as many weeks, lose your life for that individual? Do you think they would do that for you? No, first off, they're not even here legally. They chose a pathway into this country that was not legal. They chose
Right.
a pathway into this country that they shouldn't have. And so now they've been ordered by a immigration judge to be removed. Let ICE go in and remove these people.
You want to answer that question?
That's why
Ken?
we don't have these issues. And then to kind of capitalize on what Rob was saying about the individual today, look, I get the right to conceal carry. I'm all for it. I have concealed carry, but I'll tell you when I won't conceal carry if I'm going to go to a protest, or especially if I'm going to go to a protest, I'm going to put myself in a situation where I'm putting myself between something and law enforcement. You know, I mean, it's just asking for trouble. It's like
No, yeah, I
people
do.
who
I
say,
get
"I'm
you,
gonna,"
man.
and look at their guys on the right do that too. We've seen pictures of these, yahoos like, "I'm gonna have my AR-15 and walk in front of the cops." You can legally do that, but the second, and if you do nothing but walk past and chant your little chant, yell your little yell, cool. But the second you get physical with them and you got a weapon on you, that changes everything.
It definitely does. And I just want to say my piece real quick, and then I'll let David go. Only pushback I will give you and Rob is I think the guy, no matter what his reasoning for being out there was, he has his American right to be there. Regardless, you know what I'm saying? He has his right to walk within his neighborhood, to do whatever he wants. Even if he's just going to take pictures of damn birds flying by, he has the right to do that. Now, that's the only thing I would say. But he
I
did
agree
make
with you on
mistakes.
that.
He did make some mistakes today. I do agree with you guys on. I like looking at both sides of the coin, and I like to hear you guys' perspective on. When I heard, because I follow Republican pages, I follow Democrat pages, I follow all kind of stuff. And one of the guys today, the Minneapolis Police Department is a guy, he does the little radar. He said, I want you guys to keep in mind that none of this would be happening at all if Tim Walz and Mayor Fry didn't allow all the fucking fraud, allow all the people, immigrants to come through here raping people and shit like that. They said, and I thought about that because I think even though I dislike what some of these ICE agents are doing, I think they're doing some unconstitutional shit. Well, you got to keep in mind if the fucking mayor and the governor didn't allow this shit to happen, ICE wouldn't be here, man.
Well,
You're
I mean,
exactly-
and it wouldn't be
you're
there.
exactly
They wouldn't
right.
be though in the numbers. 80% of the officers, ICE officers in Minneapolis, aren't even tasked with deportating people in those operations. You know what their tasking is? Protection detail for the other ICE agents so they can go do their job.
Right.
So
And
not
I can
only
believe that.
so
Here's
so
the-
look, they've created a political situation now where ICE, in order to do its job, has to bring in 80% more people just to protect the 20% who are out there doing detaining operations, right?
ICE is in
Bullshit.
Iowa doing the same stuff and everything. It's just there's no protests and everything because the state, county, and local agencies are cooperating with them. When they show the paperwork, they give them a list. Hey, these are the people that we're going after. This is their last known location and everything. But to your point, what are we calling yourself, Jared? To your point, I'm not going to out you on a new podcast.
You're all good, bro. You're all good.
Whatever. But people need to learn how to protest. Okay, you have the right to protest and you have the right to assemble, but there's a correct way and an incorrect way of doing it.
Yep.
What you don't have the right to do is interfere with a federal or state or local law enforcement agent or multiple agents or multiple agencies conducting an operation and making an arrest or affecting a detention. Okay. Interfering with federal level law enforcement while they're trying to detain somebody, arrest somebody, or conduct an operation is actually a felony.
It's a federal
And that's
crime,
what
man.
these people don't realize. When they start throwing stuff, when they start agitating, when they start trying to get physical, you are therefore interfering and you're committing a felony. Protesting, if you look at the way protesting is supposed to be done, if you know that you're going to protest an event, you actually can get a permit.
Yep.
There is a designated area to protest in. By law, the local law enforcement at the local level is required to provide protection for your protest. And you can scream as loud as you want. You can make all the signs you want. You can use whatever language you want. What you cannot do is you cannot physically attack or throw objects or, any type of assault.
Well, that takes all the fun out of it, though, Rob.
Or try to
destroy
block them
property.
from going through and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
You cannot destroy property, and you cannot interfere with any state, local, county, or federal law enforcement actions that happen to be going on. These protests, quote unquote, that are going on up there aren't protests. It's people willfully following around the feds, and it's called agitation. They're
Well,
at a
and
That's crazy,
look,
Rob. I
now
didn't know that about that gun, bro. I didn't know that those motherfuckers were quick to go off and like had malfunctions.
Yeah,
It
it's a
really makes
Sig
because there's a
Sauer P.
rumor that
A
he
Sig
just.
Sauer
I
P320
truly
has a
believe that
recall.
it went off on accident as they were trying to disarm him.
I mean, here's the thing. Like I'm seeing just another video from this one's from the car that was passing by. At the point where the ICE officer was telling him move off the street, his reaction should have been to move off the street, not to get literally that close to the other guy's face and get into a pissing contest with a law enforcement officer. Like, look, I am all for you. You want to stand on the sidewalk and yell how much you hate ICE, how much you hate the policy of deporting illegals, how much you hate the president, go for it, right? You have the right to do that and peacefully protest on the sidewalk and voice your opinion. But what you don't have the right to do is get up in their face, yell in their face, and create body contact with them.
You can't
and then cheat operations. I don't care how how vehemently you politically disagree with the policy. You don't have the right to overturn a federal policy by yourself. Neither does your mayor. Neither does your governor. Neither does your individual congressperson or senator. It takes the U.S. Congress to pass these laws. ICE is doing nothing but enforcing laws passed by the U.S. federal government, which is your elected official.
Okay,
And then,
now,
Ken,
change
I want
those
to touch on
laws,
two things.
then vote in different leadership and change the laws. But you can't do what some of these guys are doing on the streets now.
Yeah, but,
But
see,
Rob,
I
you
wanna-
gave
I
me
wanna-
a
I
different
wanna
perspective
touch on a
earlier,
few
bro. When you
things here.
said when he knew he was armed, he probably should have just stopped wrestling and shit. But I know it's hard to do in the heat of the moment. If he would have just laid flat, like, hey man, I've got a gun on me, I just go ahead and just take it off me. He probably would still be alive, bro.
In the new video, you can hear where they're yelling "gun, gun, gun" literally seconds before it goes off. They saw the gun, they recognized it. Now, look, at Rob and I have been in these situations professionally, right? So the pucker factor, pre them yelling "gun, gun, gun," and then them yelling "gun, gun, gun" changes dramatically. The entire posture changes dramatically because when they're yelling "gun, gun, gun," that means there's a lethal weapon in play. That wasn't in play 2 seconds ago, as far as what they could see. So they yelled "gun." All you can see from the video from that white Hyundai, you can't see it on the ground piece, but you can hear all of a sudden "gun, gun, gun," and then you also hear the pop.
So I wanted to touch on something too. Rob was saying that the local police and stuff need to work with them. Well, usually the Illinois, like the Department of Corrections, will work with ICE. The local police department are bound by law. They're not, like our mayor just put out yesterday. He put out a thing on his Facebook page where he said ICE is doing work in Rockford, and the Rockford police are not, working with them. They are bound by state law. By law they cannot work together.
Well, that's
So
once
you
again,
can't
that's on
really
state
blame
leadership.
the Minneapolis mayor if that's the same case in Minnesota.
Well, just to clarify on that, the most important election that you have every year on your ballot is your county sheriff, because of all the law enforcement people that you have in a state, at the state level, which are your state troopers, local level, which is your town police.
Right.
Your county sheriff is the only elected person that is in charge of anything. Because of that being an elected position, he is the one, or he or she is the only one that can dictate what the policies are going to be working with ICE or not. Now,
yeah, because these state laws that create sanctuary or city laws that create sanctuary where by that local municipality or state's law they can't work with ICE. I mean, Bill, I hate to say it, but that's kind of part of the problem a little bit, right? Now, look, you can have these laws where you say, hey, look, we're not going to let you go. Like, for instance, the state of Florida, they arrest the guy. The state of Florida has a guy under arrest. They find out he's an illegal alien who has they report it to ICE, say, hey, we've got an illegal alien here. He has a deportation order. Will you please come pick him up? They come pick him up. Done. Over. In a state like Minnesota or Illinois, that part doesn't happen. So ICE then has to wait for that individual to be released, and on their own, using their own intelligence networks, their own people, have to go and detain the guy. So now you put
I have yet to see a fucking list anywhere ever.
Now you put more people.
I have yet to see a list anywhere ever for deportation in Minnesota and Illinois.
What list are you talking about?
Any list to pick up your illegal aliens, to arrest them, to deport them. Where's that list at? There isn't one.
I've heard in the past I've heard in the past that ICE agents are supposed to let local authorities know that they're coming in, that they're looking for so and so. They're supposed to let them know, so there's no like
so they do,
surprise.
and they
So
used to,
there's-
John, with a lot
But
more.
to my understanding,
They do
here
in a lot of
Minne-
municipalities, John, but
No,
where they're
they
not
don't.
doing
Minneapolis,
that,
they weren't doing that.
but
They
they
haven't done
didn't
that.
do it in Minneapolis. John, you're right. And John, like they do that here in Florida. Why they don't do it in places like Minneapolis and Chicago right now is because the second they tell local law enforcement, "Hey, this is what we're going to do," it gets leaked. And
You
now
gotta give them the option. You gotta give them the option.
No, you don't.
Putting a
They've
list
given
out
the
of
option
who
in the
you're
past,
trying to
and they
arrest.
failed. So why would you continue? to
They didn't even try. You got to at least try. Just
Well, they
because it's
have
a
in the past,
guaranteed
Mike.
no, you can't. But they didn't this time.
Well,
I
but
hear
of
like
course, Mike, because they have in the past. In the past,
local police
that's what
can't
happened.
work with
Okay,
ICE.
one at a
They
time,
can't,
guys.
but
One
they-
at a time,
ICE
guys.
needs to inform them that they're present and who they're looking for. So there's no surprises like when like ICE cross paths with regular police, then they're thinking these guys are imposters, and then a local police guy shoots a ICE officer, then you get hell breaking.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
if a
I agree.
local,
And John,
or if a
there's
local
no. And look,
citizen does it, man.
if
See,
you're
that's
if
the
you're
thing.
here and telling me that people don't know ICE is working in Minneapolis right now, then they obviously live under a rock and don't watch TV or read a paper or look outside. But I mean, the city of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota know ICE is working there. They've been informed. Now, Mike
it's
is
not
saying,
just-
yeah, but why aren't they telling about where they're going to do their operations? Well, Mike, they've done that in the past, and what happened in the past is
The
they
mob
say, "Hey,
shows
we're going to
up.
be at XYZ place," and all of a sudden there's a million other people there. So, look, why would you do the same thing and expect something different when time and time again you tell them and this happens? So what you're not going to at this point. You're just say, "Look, we're in your city, we're conducting operations," and that's that. You
Does
don't have to.
somebody
You don't
want to
give us-
answer her question?
To be honest, when it comes to the list and providing it to local law enforcement, if the local law enforcement already said they have no intention of cooperating, they don't agree.
No, this is the past.
Christy, they
Putting
are
a
doing
list-
that up here. Yes, they
Putting
are.
a list out of who you're going to go after makes about as much sense as if when we were attacking Iraq, we'd have been, "Hey, Saddam, good buddy, I just want you to know in 2 days at such and such a time."
It's not even remotely the same fucking thing, dude. It's not even remotely the same
Just make
thing.
sure you don't move
the
your
exact
troops out
same
of there
thing.
because we're going to be
It
dropping
is
bombs.
kind of
and
similar, David.
what we're targeting.
Yeah, but
right
hey,
now.
Rob,
You don't move.
Hey, Rob,
I mean, that's some dumb
that's-
shit.
Yeah, but Rob, in that sense, that's kind of what Donald Trump does. Like when he was threatening to blow up Iran's nuclear site, 2 days later, it got blown up. You know what I mean? Like he kind of revealed stuff on his own.
Well, like me and
sometimes
Bill have,
you-
me,
right,
me-
but-
me and Bill have
Bill,
gone
there's
back and
a
forth on
different-
this.
But Bill, I get what you're saying there, but there was a different reason why you okay. The whole thing of tactical movement and how you do things. Like he told him, "I'm going to come blow up your shit." He didn't tell him though, "What day I'm going to blow up your nuke."
Yeah, but that still gets him prepared. You know what I mean?
Right, but I mean, and sometimes he will do a leader will do something like that and then do it to say, "Look, I can even tell you, and I can still do it."
Yeah, see, he did
That's
that in
really
Venezuela
different.
too.
That's
He
on
said
the
he was gonna
macro,
do
not
some
the
shit.
micro.
See, now,
he
look, Ken
said
and
the
Rob,
same
me
thing
and
with
Bill.
Venezuela. He said the CIA, I allowed them. Then 2 weeks later, we got the president here in New York, fucking facing trial.
Yeah,
because I'll be honest, me and Bill talk about this all the time, man. He'll tell you, I think Trump, when it comes to Homeland Security, that motherfucker's doing a good job, a great job to me.
Yeah,
I
I
don't give a
get
damn
that.
what nobody. I don't give a damn what nobody says. But
these ICE
it seems
shootings
like
is
he's
too much.
yeah, yeah.
Right, well-
No, honestly, I think what a lot of it has to do with these guys are just untrained. They're put on the field so fast. Where
So
they're
these
not
guys
even
aren't the
getting
trainee.
proper
They got
training.
new guys though, Bill. Like they haven't even pushed these guys out into these areas yet. Most of these agents in these areas have been with the agency for years.
Yeah, I know
if
the
not
guy,
decades.
Yeah,
one
they're
of
all
the
local.
shooters
Mostly they
today, has
live
been with
locally,
ICE
yep.
for 8 years with a squeaky clean record. Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard that today.
So
too.
I mean, they're pushing these guys through training. I can understand that, but those guys haven't hit the street
because
yet,
just
right?
like the Renee Good thing, like
Hey, Yoli.
the first thing they teach you is what I'm told is never stand in front of or back of a car. Always
She
stand
moved
on
the
the
car though
side.
too, though. But we can.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I was at with that shooting. Like if he was trained correctly, he wouldn't have stood in front of that car.
I mean, here's the thing: as time goes on, like I've already seen one new video released in the last hour. More video.
Oh,
is
by
gonna come
tomorrow
out.
there's going to be 1,000.
Yeah, there'll be a bunch more. And look, I'm
we
with
might
Rob.
even have a drone video.
If this was a negligent shoot by the officers, then I expect them to hold the officer accountable for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to jump to that conclusion until we get everything. Like some people are just ready to jump because
Well, it looks really bad when you see them disarm him, and then 70 seconds later he gets.
Well, that's just, but then that begs the question of what the disarming that we saw was. I mean, okay, I've seen that video too, and I'm like, is that his gun or is not his gun? Because that guy walks away, and then all of a sudden you hear gun, like a few seconds after. So I don't know if that was his gun. That could have been a gun from one of the other officers that became dislodged in the scrum, and he was picking up a gun from a fellow ICE officer, not the individual's gun that got killed. So we don't know that for a fact either. We don't know if he was actually disarmed. Like, what weapon did that officer pick up? Was that the weapon that the individual had, or was that a weapon that became dislodged in the scrum of another ICE agent, and he retrieved that weapon?
That's the thing. Like, they're not going to even tell us either way. We're never going to know.
Right.
Well, no, there will be a look at. We will know, and people will do FOIA requests to get these reports, because none of this is going to be classified information.
Is there even going to be an investigation into this, Ken? Let's be real.
There's one
here,
ongoing right now.
Well, according to Stephen Miller, the ICE agents have immunity.
JD Vance said the same shit.
Yeah, but with this
Christy
Christy
Nolan said the ICE agents have immunity.
Like today, that video looks so bad, and then Rob has opened my
What's
eyes
up, Joey?
to new viewpoints on this shit. But my thing is,
ICE
you don't
agents
want the
don't
public
have immunity. They can operate with impunity. There's
Aaron,
immunity.
say hi to
Okay.
No.
No,
Stephen Miller said Stephen Miller said the ICE agents have immunity. Christy Nolan said the ICE agents have immunity.
No, I think he was just speaking on that one situation, though, David.
Yeah,
But
they don't
still,
have full immunity.
I think he was just
across the board.
I think he was just speaking on that Renee Good situation when he said that. But still, he was trying to say that he has immunity for that situation. I believe. But still,
He had immunity. So
yeah, he did.
that's the same thing's gonna apply here.
So no, look, if
I'm pretty sure.
they have immunity to a degree, it's not like they have full blanket immunity to do whatever the hell they want. They've got immunity within certain bounds, right? So it's not like immunity like you're thinking like I can do whatever the hell I want. The immunity is what's the official name for it? It's got a different name.
They can't murder somebody in cold
Yeah.
blood. They can
Right.
conduct their operations and do what they have to do with agitators. And if the agitators happen to get shot, like one did today, they can
Yeah, I
operate
don't know.
with
That looked more like cold blood
impunity.
to me.
But they cannot just because somebody yells something at them, pull a gun and shoot somebody from across the street dead.
If they do that, Rob, they're going down.
Yeah, absolutely they are. They don't have
Okay.
immunity from that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, like I said, this investigation. I know how everyone wants to jump on and get their political points early, but as we've seen this time and time again with several situations, over the next 2 to 3 days or even week, more and more videos have come out, more and more evidence has come out, and we'll find out more. Like with Renee Good, look how much that narrative changed from day one to 5 days later. When she was just dropping off her kids, who the fact was that she had been following ICE around all day. So the immediate response was peaceful protester who didn't do anything. Then we come to find out that she was following ICE around all day, that she'd been sitting there blocking traffic for a long time, and that the two stories weren't the same. So will we find out more about this situation as the days go on? Most definitely. Is it sad that this individual lost his life? Most definitely. Is it could have been avoided? Yeah, on many different levels and you can look at it from both sides of that coin. On the ICE side of the coin, they gotta watch how they deal with civilians maybe a little bit more. Again, but on the civilian side, stop putting your ass in front of in between ICE and their target. And that takes politicians.
What are their targets? No one knows.
Like I said earlier,
no one knows who their targets are. Like we've been saying,
it's not their job to
they're
tell
just
you.
going fucking. They're just going door to door to
David,
door.
it's not that David. They don't have to tell you shit.
Right, but there's a lot of protesters that don't know how to protest, and you should protest correctly, which I agree 100%. But he worked in the ICU. Should he not had his gun? Probably not, but he's licensed to carry it. So as long as he doesn't reach for it, it's good. We don't know. We only got so much video.
Right.
You know what I mean? But from when that lady got pushed, from what I seen, he was trying to help her. Working in the ICU, he helps people. Should he gotten involved? No, but that's what he does. Will you let me talk?
I'm trying. Let me ask you a question real quick, and then please continue. At what point did he was he out of it and then try to help? The way the video looks like he was part of it the whole time.
Yeah, he's used to helping people, so that came naturally to him.
Hey, John, can I ask you a question though?
Yeah, I was trying to ask him a question.
Christy
Who, me?
Noom is a bird-legged hoe. Christy Noom is a bird-legged hoe. Christy Noom is a bird-legged hoe.
What was that?
That shit is great. I love AI, dude.
I mean, I get where I agree with a lot of what Mike said, but I don't know where it
You guys
came
hear
where
me
he
or
was
no?
an innocent
Yeah, I can hear you.
bystander who
Can't
also
hear you
was
guys.
jumping in to help someone else. It looked like he was a part of the situation before she even got pushed down to the ground.
Yeah, like I said, there were, at the beginning of the show, there's 3 different levels that could have kept the guy alive. One, it was his choice to attend the protest. He wasn't in the neighborhood. It wasn't his neighborhood. He didn't live around there. It's his choice to be there. If he wasn't there, he'd be home eating supper with his family tonight. 2, it's his choice to insert himself into the situation when that woman got pushed. Does it suck to watch somebody else get pushed on the ground, especially if you feel like it's wrong? Yes. Is it natural to want to help? Yes. Do you have to have some situational awareness about yourself when you're dealing with a known federal law enforcement operation happening? Yes. If he wouldn't have inserted himself in there, even being there, he still would have been home eating supper with his family tonight. 3, when ICE put their hands on him, especially knowing he was carrying a weapon, resisting, he signed his own death warrant right there. That's the most monumentally stupid thing you can possibly do. I'll tell you guys a story. I've been pulled over 3 times, twice in a car, once on a motorcycle while I was carrying concealed. The 2 times in the car, I handed my information, blah, blah, blah. Cop came back up and they asked me, could you get out of the car? I had the presence of mind to have the car shut off and the fob set up with the window all the way down right on the dash, my hands on the steering wheel, and I said, I need to inform you that I'm carrying a concealed weapon. It is located on my right hip. I'm not going to move my hands off of the steering wheel. How would you like to proceed? Both times in the car, the officer just looked at me. They had already had my license, my registration. They're like, you know what? This is just a speeding ticket. It's not that big of a deal. Here's your information back, sir. You know, and I was like, yes, my car shut off. My fob is there. You may take my fob out. I will not move my arms, whatever. For your safety and mine, how would you like me to proceed? They're like, it's just a speeding violation. It's not that big of a deal. On the motorcycle, I kept my hands on my ape hangers, said the same thing. He had me go ahead and slowly get off of the bike, back facing him, and he asked me to take my holster and my weapon, place it on the seat of the motorcycle, and then step back like 5 foot and then turn around, which I did. Very polite. They thanked me afterwards for being professional on how I informed them of doing that stuff. And the last thing you need to do is get an attitude or do anything except freeze and give any amount of resistance if you're carrying concealed. If anybody had a carry concealed class, which I have actually helped teach, that's the first fucking thing they teach you. If you get with law enforcement and you're carrying and there's any inkling that they may want to have any interaction with you, do not move, keep your hands visible, inform the officer that you are carrying concealed, where it's located, and ask them how you would like to proceed. You
How
damn
much
sure
trouble have you been in your life?
fight or wrestle with 5 of them.
And
How much
definitely
trouble
don't
have-
get in his face
How
yelling
much trouble have you been in your life?
Well, I mean, somebody should have ran that by Philando Castillo because I mean, he almost did everything you said
how much
right
trouble
there,
have you been in
and he
your
still
life?
lost his life. So I mean,
Who are you talking to, Wyatt?
Just anyone.
Dave, why does how much trouble someone's been in? How's
Wow.
that relevant?
If you have to ask the question, then you don't know, Ken.
Don't know what?
How does that? What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
Nothing.
Wow. Yes, it does.
If you're armed, you definitely don't get in a cop's face and get into a shoving match with them. If you're armed. And David, I don't care how much you think, well, I've been in trouble so much. So dude, Rob and I have been in actual combat. We've had rounds whiz past our head. We know what gunfire's like, you know, and we know what the training's like and how the escalation goes from where there's no firearms to where there is firearms and how fast a situation could devolve right in front of your eyes. Before you even have time to react, the rounds are flying. It's not an easy gig that you can sit there from your couch with your lazy boys, you smoke a bowl and decipher. How much trouble one's been in their life with the law has no presence, no bearing on the situation at hand. None. Zero. We've all been arrested or pulled over or something at some point in our life. But, in every situation where you've been pulled over for a traffic violation, arrested for whatever reason, it could be a noise violation, drunken, disorderly, whatever, there's a common theme with all of it. The more polite you are with law enforcement and the less you resist, the easier it goes. The more respectful you are with law enforcement, they show you that right back. But the more you get in their face and escalate a situation, and they have to escalate their response, because at the end of the day,
but they're taught
responsible.
To de-escalate. They're taught to.
Well, they try to de-escalate when possible. It's a double-edged sword, right, Bill? You're trying to de-escalate it as this individual is escalating. You're trying to get off the street. You get them off the street, and they run right back on the street, yelling and screaming at you. You're trying to de-escalate it by clearing them out. Really, what ICE should be doing, and they have not been doing, is arresting people in huge swaths. Like Rob said, when you do some of these things that people are doing, it's a felony, federal. We've seen the video, like I'm sure we've all seen that one video of that lady. She was chasing ICE all over the place, 70 miles per hour with the kids in the car. The guy pulls her over, and all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, I'm a mom, I'm going home." When she'd been finding them all over the place, and he could have arrested her right then and there for felony. He said, "Just go home." When they throw these people to the ground, they could follow up the throwing them to the ground with a pair of handcuffs and arrest them. They don't do that. They let these guys go. Really, if you think about it, I can blame ICE for a little bit because they're being too soft on these people. They should start arresting more of these people, linking them up in handcuffs, and put them in front of a judge for federal corruption charges. The reason they don't do that is they don't want to see a bunch of American citizens racking up felonies protecting these illegal immigrants that they're trying to arrest.
Yeah, I
They're
seen the
actually doing
video
people
that
a
Christy's
favor.
talking about after the shooting. There's another video where it showed one of the ICE officers clapping.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was like it was coming from a camera angle where they couldn't see the shooting. You could just see the cops backing up, and then he started clapping because his gun was on like a strap, so he didn't have to holster it. Yeah, I saw that video just a little bit ago.
And you guys got to understand too, like we're sitting here from the comfort of our homes, our living rooms, our couches, our lazy boys, whatever, trying to dissect this. It's a very different thing when you're actually in the field and you're in a place with high tension, right? I mean, the tension is palpable in Minnesota. You can cut it with a knife. It's palpable. So that raises the tensions for everyone, no matter the training. Look, at the end of the day, all law enforcement, whether they be ICE, local, federal, whatever, they're human freaking beings, right? They're subject to the same things you and I are. They're trained to be better at it, and by far they are better than the average civilian. But at the end of the day, they are human beings just like you, and they worry about making it home.
And that's why I would never be an ICE officer, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I know I can't do it. There are probably people that think they can do it, they can't do it, and then sometimes you get shit like this that happens.
It's like joining the military, man. Not everyone can do it. You know what I mean? And that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But these guys take on a heavy burden and a heavy toll.
Wyatt would go if he could smoke balls.
Law enforcement's not an easy career, man. Why do you think they have the highest divorce rate of all professions?
Yeah, that is true.
Number one divorce rate's law enforcement. This number two is military.
Yeah, because it's the authority thing. It's the
So, John, what's your thoughts on this shooting today? Was it justified murder out of what you've seen so far?
I'm going to be different from maybe you're probably the only exception, probably Bill and David. Yeah, I don't think it was justified at all. Yeah, I just don't.
Now, after seeing them disarm him and then the shooting happens, makes it look bad.
Well, it's one thing where it's like you get maybe the first shot, but then they had there's like three different guys who looked like that shot him. There's for one person, it was like two other guys, and
I think the other
guys on the ground, they
they
just unloaded on him. It's like, geez.
I think they shot out of reaction of the other officer, which is goes back to their training. When they teach them in training, they have to accommodate for their gun, every bullet.
And you're talking like one last shot to first shot. It's all a matter of like that, right? Yeah. So it's not like in the 100 millionth of a thousandth of a second, however much time that was, they have the enough to discern who made the shot, right? They're all reacting at the same point of emphasis. So it's not like they have time to say, "Oh, hey, did you shoot? Hey, Darren, was that your gun that went off? Bill, was that yours? They just have to react, right?
Yeah,
So,
but
I
their
mean,
training tells them you can't shoot just because you hear a gunshot. You have to still confirm yourself, that there's a
well, and that's the human aspect, right? Like they're trying to do that, and we're talking very close quarters there. Now the disarming thing, though, Bill, like, look, I don't know. Like I said earlier, let's find out if that was his weapon, or if that was a weapon of an officer that may have become dislodged. And then that guy had to go pick
Do
it
you
up
honestly
and remove it
think
from
that the
air.
Department of Homeland Security is going to investigate and be transparent?
Well, the
and say,
FBI is
hey,
investigating this.
hey, my people screwed up. Can you honestly say that Chrissy Noem's going to say, yeah, the ICE officer, they fucked up. They made him there. I can't see that happening.
So, John, it's a joint investigation with the FBI, but on some level, you have to give these people the benefit of the doubt until they give you a reason not to. And look at and Department of Homeland Security has reported when they've done things wrong and when mistakes have happened in the past under the current administration. Even so, I mean, you got to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. Let them do
I
the
don't trust
investigation.
Cash Patel though at all.
No,
Let them do the
I
investigation.
don't trust any of this administration.
And look, you guys got to remember, this can all be everything they gather. A FOIA request can be done. If you're going to tell me that CNN and
FOIA requests still
MSNBC
can
and they're
be
not going to be
denied
FOIA,
though. FOIA
What now?
requests can still be denied though.
they'll get
I mean,
with
the
a FOIA
BCA is
unless it's a classified situation, which I don't think this would be.
The BCA is being denied any involvement in their own investigation by the feds. So I mean that.
Well, that's because it's a federal incident, not a local incident.
But
It's under federal jurisdiction. It deals with federal law enforcement. The local law enforcement.
But no, what he's saying, Chrissy, is that the gun that was being handed off could have been an ICE agent's gun that fell off.
It could have been.
Could have still had the gun, is what.
Because here's the thing too. If you look at that video, it's a solid black gun. The video, the picture of the gun they recovered is not a.
It's
solid
a pretty
black
shitty quality video though, too. Though.
Yeah, it is.
It is,
So-
and that's why I
It's
hesitate. to
pixel
rush-
bad when they zoom in.
I hesitate to rush a judgment on anything because that video really doesn't tell you anything.
That would be the only thing to save that dude's ass. is
The
if
one
that
thing,
was
the
an
one
ICE
thing that
agent's
we can
gun.
all say is he did not have a gun on his hand at the time that he was shot and killed.
Well,
He
no,
had
we
none
can't.
of
Correct.
that. He didn't have that.
As far as we know, that's one of the things. As far as we know, we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and we don't know this definitively one way or the other, Joe. I'm not going to sit there at the same time. I'm not going to tell you he had the gun in his hand, but at the same time, there was a weapon present, and was it a negligent discharge that created this? Like Rob says, could have happened. That's in the realm of possibility. So until we know, it's really hard to just shoot. And look, we see these bad videos, and we see some better videos. And just like with the Renee Good, we had certain videos, and then the next day, even better video came. So we got to give this a day or two and let video, like I said, within the last hour or so, the video from the lady in the white car, the individual who was in that white car, came out. And that illuminated a little bit more, maybe not so much in the physicality piece of it, but definitely you could hear what was going on. All of a sudden you heard gun, 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 followed by shot. So now we got to put that together with some other video that we get, some better video. Maybe there is some maybe there is some cam footage from best footage if one of those guys was one of the ones wearing the cam. Because not all ICE agents have to wear them. They only have to wear the body cam if they're conducting certain operations. So if it was a protection detail, none of them might have had a cam on. Only the other guys would.
So this is the video that Chrissy wanted us to watch. Let's hear this.
Right? I mean, police issued pepper spray. I have, and I'll tell you, it's astonishing that less than a second after being pepper sprayed in the face, he's still trying to help someone else. And that's the last thing he did, because the video shows him still holding on to that woman when 6 ICE officers gang up on him and violently beat him as he's lying down in a fetal position.
I mean,
And this officer takes Freddy's gun off his waistband. This is when something incredibly important happens. The first shot that is fired is not them shooting him. It's the officer who disarmed him accidentally shooting Freddy's weapon towards the ground. You can see this piece of clothing shake when the weapon goes off. Then the other officers open fire.
Wow.
He's motionless on the ground, having already seemingly been shot 4 times, You shoot another 5 times at his body.
That changes it all.
I mean, well, they do here's the other piece of it, I guess. I mean, I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, his stuff his clothes moving when he's outside in windy, bad conditions. I don't know if that's from the gun, but the ballistics will tell us, right?
Right.
Ballistics will tell us, so we need to wait for that. I mean, but the thing with that also goes back to what Rob says earlier. Like when he talks about, I can't believe this guy was still trying to do this when she was pepper sprayed. She was they were going to detain her. So at that point, he's impeding with them lawfully detaining an individual. Right? Once again, this whole thing could have been avoided. Just let them detain her. She did something she wasn't supposed to do. On some level, you got to be. What's not my problem? I hate to put it that way, but you really
and
be that
when
way.
he interfered, now he's got a felony charge as well, right up until they
But
shot
that
him.
still doesn't deserve to get executed, though.
No one's saying.
I don't think none of you guys would agree.
It's not, but his choice to interfere and then his choice to resist when they put their hands on him directly led to him getting shot.
But you say interfere, but what way was he interfering where he didn't allow them to do their job?
He should have never
they were allowed to
engaged
do
the
their job.
officers at all.
I mean,
Like,
it's
stand back,
basically policing the
videotape, look at-
police.
Stand back and
That's what they're
videotape
doing.
it and let her have
but they weren't like over there like getting a immigrant or nothing. They were pushing a lady in the snow.
Yeah, but she was impeding their job.
Yeah, but why were they even there?
Him being in the AO, that's area of operation, him actually just having a physical presence in their area of operation that they want cleared is impeding an investigation and interfering with an official act.
Well,
It's a
right,
felony.
that's what I'm saying. What were they there doing? What was their official act? Who were they investigating?
Well, we don't. They haven't released that
No,
out.
we haven't.
But let me say
We don't
something
know
real quick.
that part.
CNN was just playing another video. It was from across the street, and you know what's funny? In a sad way, there was a lady sitting there on the sidewalk, not getting involved.
Yeah, yep, I
just
see that
shooting the video. That's the way you do it. There's an activist out of New York. This guy's been arrested 1,000,001 times. He's a right-wing activist, and he's like, "Look it, just comply. Have your day of court in court, not on the street where it's already a high-tension situation. Go to the courtroom and prove your guilt, or prove your innocence, or let them prove your guilt. Don't try to prove it on the street when tensions are already high. Go to court." What that lady was doing in that video that I just saw on CNN was the right way to do it. She's sitting back there like this. That's the way you do it. You don't jump in yourself and try to separate people from the cops. You shoot the video and say, "Hey, here's the video. If the attorney wants it."
If you're going to actively insert yourself into any type of situation within 50 to 100 feet of a law enforcement operation happening and you're carrying a concealed weapon, you are asking for it. I'm sorry. That is monumentally stupid.
And as far as like excessive force, I mean, once again, we'll have to see what the evidence bears out. What went right, what went wrong. They do that. You have what we call in the Army an AAR, after action review. What went right, what went wrong with that piece of it. I mean, one bullet is enough. Okay, but why did the other guy shoot? Was it they all? You have a nanosecond. They thought this guy was firing at him, so they all shot at the same time or relatively close. Maybe, but the shots only lasted for maybe 2 seconds, and then all shooting was done. All the shooting happened within a time span of 2 to 3 seconds tops. That's very fast. Now, I would tell this to any of you watching this, or like Chrissy, you go to the range or whatever. Because I see you in the comments. I ask yourself the same question. If this were you in that same situation, how would you actually react? There is a great video that was done by a local news station down here in the South somewhere when everyone was doing the whole defund the police thing, and they were talking about police brutality, and they fired too quickly. They took one of these guys who's one of the bigger named activists, and they put him through the training. They said, "Okay, we're going to run the scenarios, and we'll see how you react." Because part of the complaint here would be, well, their reaction was wrong. And they put this guy through all the different scenarios, and he reacted the same way as the cops did. In a lot of ways, we're like, wow, you really don't have time. You get a nanosecond. How are these guys supposed to do it? And they're like, exactly. This is not like an easy thing for these guys to do. You're talking You have a nanosecond to make a life-altering choice.
Hey,
Most
Ken.
of us couldn't do that.
Ken,
Or would want to.
Ken, we've had the same training. We've had the exact same training. Ask me when you stop shooting. Ask me when you're supposed to stop pulling the trigger. Ask
The
me.
threat's over.
Yeah, when it changes shape or catches fire, you're gonna get the same answer from anybody that's ever been in
And
the
Rob,
military.
how many
or
times?
law enforcement.
And Rob, how many times in going through houses, through kill houses, roadside training, have we shot things we weren't supposed to shoot in the forever, in the moment of the fog of war, if you will. You know, that's why we train so much to try to mitigate the blue on blue, or to mitigate the discharge of a weapon at a friendly. We train ad nauseum. Cops do it, special forces do it, mainline military does it, National Guard does it. Even with all that training, at the end of the day, you're talking about a human being who has to make a huge choice in a split second. Not easy.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you know, military methods are very dissimilar from law enforcement methods, and that's why I maintain that deploying the National Guard in Minnesota is a bad idea.
Yeah, I agree.
Junior, you know what?
Horrible idea.
You know what?
We are trained to fight. It's called LISCO, right? Large scale combat operations. We maintain an overwhelming 4-to-1 advantage. We assault the objective. We assault through the objective with extreme lethality and violence of action. We are not military is not law enforcement. Having the Guard out there is a bad idea. And if you think you're going to mitigate that mentality by just having the Guard out there carrying shields and weapons with, no bullets in the magazine and everything, then all you're doing is putting extra targets out there of people that can get fucked up by the agitators.
Let me go back to
there's no winning side to
Walsh
let me
took
go
a
to
lot of
Junior's comment
criticism
really
for
quick.
the way he handled the George Floyd riots when he didn't call the National Guards till like almost 4 or 5 days later.
Yeah, and not even that. He called Waltz called the National Guard in to give the ICE and the police a break. They've been working around the clock, so now they can rotate.
So let me go to Junior's comment here, though, right? There's another piece of that here, right? All right, so Junior's comment, that's all it takes is a second for someone to get their life taken, which in this case is not acceptable. But Junior, the problem is, I'll posit this to you. If he did not have his weapon on him, if he had no gun on him today, he would still be alive. Him having his gun on him changed the entire situation. It changed the threat assessment, it changed the threat level, it changed everything. So look at the guy who got killed today has a piece to play in this, and he raised the threat level by carrying a firearm into this scenario.
Yeah.
Had he no firearm, he would be at home having supper with his kids right now.
Yeah.
Chris,
if he didn't have a firearm, he'd be at home.
For law enforcement, look at a lot of people can't handle it, and that's why they aren't law enforcement. It's not an easy job. That is also why the divorce rate's so high. That's why a lot of guys when they get out, there's a high rate of alcoholism, there's a high rate of suicide. It is not an easy job.
No. If he didn't have a firearm, he'd be alive. If he didn't resist when they laid hands on him, he'd be alive. If he didn't put himself in the situation, he'd be alive. If he didn't decide to go down and protest, he'd be alive. There's 4 choices. 4 choices right there that are directly on this guy. Does that still make it right that he had to lose his life today? No. And I do think there will be accountability for that.
So Christie's saying that no matter what, they were going to shoot him. And I'm sorry, you can't have a discussion with that. I mean, I'm sorry.
You can't determine the intent inside of a person's head.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But then you can't, to sit there say if he didn't have his gun that he would still be alive. I mean, that's
the odds are much higher.
Constitutional
it's
right
a 50-50 right there. I mean,
Bill, you're correct, but look at once again, let's not conflate that. Yeah,
he might have carried it everywhere he went 24/7.
Right, and look, I carry conceal all the time, but I don't go fighting law enforcement. That's the thing there. He got engaged in an altercation with law enforcement where he initiated physical contact and got physical with them, and he had a firearm on him. That's a recipe for disaster. Had he not had that firearm on him, there's no one yelling gun, 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 gun. And there's no fire, there's no shots. And if there was a negligence charge from his gun being carried away, that definitely doesn't happen, right? So if he doesn't have the gun on his person, I would say the odds are very, very much higher that he's at home having supper with his family tonight versus being in the morgue.
So from the video that Chrissy shared to us earlier, when they're looked like they were removing a gun, if that was his gun and it discharged, then that changes the whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. We got a couple days that the information is going to flow. But if you look at what could have prevented this, right? First and foremost, the things that Rob laid out. Secondly, look at if your state or your city has these. Well, we're not going to participate with ICE, and you guys should be out there and do things like Governor Walz is saying, and this Mayor Frayer, the mayor from Evanston, Illinois. That idiot. And they're trying to obstruct them and get in their way and this, that, and the other. Well, that's raising tensions. But then you look at places like Florida,
look at places like Florida. Look
Texas.
at places where it's all red. Yeah, Ken. Look at where it's happening.
But David, you can cry about this all you want, but how many riots do you see in
Fuck
Florida where
Florida.
people are getting shot
All right,
today?
fuck Florida. Fuck Florida. You're right. You're having no fucking problems.
No,
what problems is Florida causing, bro?
Yeah, what problems are we having with ICE agents detaining people there? I want to know, because the point is these states, Tennessee doesn't have this issue. Indiana doesn't have this issue.
Why is it fuck Florida?
New Mexico doesn't have this issue. What's the
Iowa
difference in
doesn't
all
have
these
this issue.
places? Their politicians aren't telling people to get out there and stop ICE.
Why are you something else?
Chrissy, we all do, but unfortunately, in Minnesota, the Minnesota state law and local ordinances prevent that from happening. They literally have laws in the books of being a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state that prohibit local law enforcement or law enforcement at any level from the state of Minnesota from working with ICE. And then what the politicians do, they get on camera saying, well, we don't want ICE here. We don't want these Nazi thugs who are invading our state here with that, using that kind of language and rhetoric. It just amps people up more. Oh, this is a dictatorship. Oh, this is authoritarianism. Oh, this is whatever. And they use this kind of language and it riles people up.
Go ahead, Ryan.
And then what do you have happen? You have all these people who are emotionally charged taking to the street to stop the Gestapo ICE agents from removing the brown people because they're racist. And this is what happens. Versus just letting ICE do their job. They have removal orders on these folks. Let them go in, get the people they have removal orders from, and be gone with their day. All these other states are doing that, and you don't have people getting killed in the street. You don't have cars being burned. You don't have businesses being looted. You don't have any of these issues.
I was gonna ask David Wyatt what his thoughts were on the situation and why fuck Florida.
Because it's red, not blue.
He's probably smoking a bowl.
Why
you're probably right. Listening to him bitch about Florida makes me want to smoke a bowl.
Hey, you can do that in Florida.
Didn't even say why.
There he is. All right, go ahead, Darren. Ask him. Go
David,
ahead.
what's your thoughts on the situation and why did you say fuck Florida? That's my question.
What's your thoughts on the shooting?
Thoughts on the shooting and why you say fuck Florida?
The shooting was murder. I'm just tired of the Florida being used as like this like bastion where none of this is happening. I'm sorry, Florida. No, you're right. None of this is happening in Florida because you all agree with it. We don't.
Okay.
We don't agree with anything that's happened in this country since Trump's been elected.
You lost the election, so you don't agree with it. Deal with it. Wait till next election. Go to the next guy.
We don't agree with Trump in Venezuela. We don't agree with fucking.
Don't care. You lost the election to quote President Barack Obama. Elections have consequences.
You shut the fuck up. You asked. I'm fucking giving you right.
All right. Let Wyatt finish.
And then I'm leaving.
All right, Wyatt, finish.
I finished.
I mean, look at Barack Obama said it best: elections have consequences. If you lose the election,
I finished. Yeah,
guess what?
yeah.
Policies you don't like
This
are going to
election.
be enacted.
This, you know what? You know what? You know what consequences this election's had for us? All of our world allies are gone.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
They are.
They're not.
They are.
No.
They're not.
Yeah, they are.
I disagree.
Okay,
with
wait,
that.
David, give me the list of who is now attacking the United States?
Yeah, who has stopped being our ally?
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Most
maybe
of
not
Europe has stopped being our ally.
No,
they
haven't.
Yes, they have.
No.
Yes,
No.
they have.
No.
We have pissed a lot of people off, though. That's
We have pissed a lot of people off, but they have not stopped being our ally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, being pissed
None
off.
of them would fucking back us right now. I guarantee it.
I
Oh,
guarantee you that the treaties and the alliance treaties that exist say otherwise.
Yep.
Until those are dissolved.
NATO says otherwise, David. NATO says otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've seen it, and yeah.
Seen what?
Venezuela was
What have you
absolutely
seen?
brilliant. It was the
Yeah.
most brilliant special forces, Delta Force, one
That was-
sixty
that was some
operation
savage
that
shit.
world.
That Venezuela shit was some savage shit.
I mean, look at every president is going to do things that people in the European community don't like because they care about what?
Hi, Dave.
Their own country, and they want to make everyone's jockeying for position all the time. That's the way it works.
Right.
I mean, this president is different in maybe his tone and way he speaks, but we've all seen this. I don't know why people haven't figured this out. Like, look at Greenland. Well, let's transition to Greenland, shall we, guys? Greenland. He talks all this big game. Oh, we might have to put troops in there and just take it over. Blah blah blah. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Then they go to the meeting. They come out of the meeting. And it's like, okay, we've expanded our bases. We've got
Correct,
more
Junior.
control on how it's run
Big
there.
control.
We're good. That's what he wanted all along. It's like
Nationwide.
with Rocket Man becomes all that rhetoric and get ready. And trust me, Rob and I were in briefings. We're prepping for a possible war because the rhetoric. And then he comes back. All right, we're having a peace meeting at the DMZ. And okay, we got what we wanted. They got, I mean, this is the way he is. He goes in pretty big and boisterous, and he gives a place to walk back from to get a deal. I mean, he even wrote a damn book about it called The Art of the Deal and tells you exactly how he's going to do it. And when he does it, people get shocked, like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's doing this." He's told you in his book that this is how he does it. We know it.
During Barack Obama's end of his term, when everybody thought that Hillary was just going to win the election, we were in a type of a classified elevated status, even with the guard and the reserve components and everything else. We actually flew to South Korea and put feet on the ground where we were going to be deployed at for the inevitable shooting conflict with North Korea. They
Same in
projected a
Africa.
90% casualty rate within the first 5 days until the North Koreans ran out of ammunition and can't resupply, and then the advance would go up. We actually knew exactly the grid coordinates where we would be set up, where the howitzers would be placed, and what our freaking targets were on the other side of the DMZ. Was
And
how
we had the
bad
same thing with Africa.
people thought that we were going to be
I
going to
agree,
war
Christy.
if Hillary got elected. Donald Trump coming in and getting elected was the biggest blindside in the history of modern politics. And all of a sudden, what seemed like it was going to be for sure war again with North Korea turned out to be something that actually de-escalated for a while. Now Rocket Man's back at it again, as Kenneth stated.
Right, Rocket Man.
Blah blah blah. The only bad thing about being Rocket Man is if none of your rockets work, you kind of look like a fucking jackass. So
I mean, the stuff Trump does should surprise no one. Like what he's doing should surprise. He told everyone during the campaign, "We are going to mass deport illegal immigrants." Everyone knew it. He won the election. So when you get guys like David saying, "Well, we don't agree," well, that's fine. You lost an election. That's democracy.
Well, and
right?
Junior's
People
latest comment
spoke.
too. He said everybody in this world knows what Trump is going to do. He said it in all of his rallies, and people wanted this. Yes, the people. Yeah. There you go. Yes,
That's what we voted for.
Yeah.
So like when David comes down here and says, "Well, we all disagree," well, that's fine, but your position lost. That's how democracy works,
who
right?
is we all?
So your position lost, and your response is, "Well, you're not being democratic. You're killing democracy." Well, wait a minute. Democracy dictated that your position lost, but now you're going to violently react against people and impede on the will of the people because you lost. So which one's more democratic and which one's less?
So
the one where the
I also
people
wanna
voted
throw-
for something to happen, or the ones who lost and trying to impede that?
I also want to throw a curveball out for our audience. I'm not necessarily a Trump supporter. I don't support politicians. I vote for whoever I think sucks less every 4 years. And to be perfectly honest, I'd prefer to just be called a constitutionalist or a conservative and not a Republican, because in my opinion, most of the Republicans, 75% of them, are as bad or worse, and they do more harm than what the fucking Democrats do. They
I vote
piss
for
me off.
policy.
The Republicans piss me off worse than what the Democrats do half of the time. You know,
I'm like you, Rob. I vote for policies, right? I vote on what policies I like better than
I
others.
vote for policy and who I think is the least shady. Not one politician ever has gotten one penny from me. I own no political gear, hats, shirts, or anything. And the most I'm going to put any effort into any of them is walking across the street to the school and going and voting every 4 years. That's what I'll get. I will
You
give
don't
them the
vote,
vote.
don't bitch. You know what I mean?
That's about it. I'm not going to support anybody because inevitably they all let you down in some fashion or another. But there's ones on both sides that have all done things that I think are good. Obama had the balls to actually take out Osama bin Laden.
Yep.
Give him credit for that. Trump has done good things. Trump has done stupid things. The way Trump acts when he acts like a 3-year-old half the fucking time just causes this belligerence, which then causes guys like Tim Walz, who's also equally.
All right, Rob. Hey, Rob, let me ask you this. What's your thoughts on him getting the Nobel Peace Prize secondhand?
Trump?
Should I send him my fantasy football ring from last year?
Yeah, because I should have won last year, and you fucking stole that from me.
No, I'm just talking. I didn't win.
That was bullshit. So
Phil, isn't that funny though? That okay, look, think about that. The person who won the Nobel Peace Prize when she won it dedicated it to Trump, right? And then of her own free will, she gives the award to Trump.
Yeah,
and Trump is somehow bad for that.
You're talking about the chick.
Dude,
from
how long did
Venezuela,
he
right?
cry about the Nobel Peace Prize?
Ken, you're talking about the chick from Venezuela,
now
right?
I'm not thinking about peace no more.
Yeah, I seen that.
The country didn't want to give me the.
I mean, but it's like he's bad. It's like they want to attack him because she wanted to give him this prize.
That was on her.
That's like when you go back to the first term with like AOC and her stupidest fucking thing. One of many that she's done. So there was a program that President Trump started for the Latino community, and it brought job training, computers, food for the food banks. It put money into the local economy to help bolster it, right? So Goya, the largest Hispanic-owned company in the country, says, you know what? We think this is a good program for the people in these areas. We're going to donate food for the food banks, money and computers, and we're going to help this system out. And AOC goes, oh my God, Goya just supported a Trump program. We should all ban them. Now, my wife's Puerto Rican. She just started laughing hysterically. She's like, why am I gonna boycott Goya for helping a program that helps people in my community? This is where we're at with tribalism.
Yeah, identity politics and tribalism.
Yeah.
And virtue signaling. People, I mean, it's literally retarded. I can't think of any other term for it.
So when she gives him the Nobel Peace Prize, he's getting slammed for. It's like, look at, of her own accord and volition, the day she won the award, she dedicated it to him, and then she came and presented it to him. That's something she did.
She was almost strong armed to give it to him.
But was she by how?
That's something else that's super ass annoying about Trump. His need for self-recognition and self-accolades.
That's why I said, should I send him all my
other piece, though,
football rings?
But there's another piece to that where he wants no recognition whatsoever, and then we hear about shit he's done for people where he's sought no recognition. So it's a double-edged sword with him because, like, sometimes it's like,
but
I should win the Peace Prize, but then he did some other miraculously nice thing. Like, remember, there's the story out there about the kid who needed to fly to get a surgery, but none of the airlines would touch it because of his condition. So Trump said, no worries. He flew his plane out there, picked the kid up in his family, flew him to wherever he needed to go, had the plane stay there, put him up in his property, helped the kid, paid all the kid's medical bills. And then after the kid had the procedure, flew him home. And he never told anyone about it. It wasn't until the family came out about years later
Right.
and let people know he did. So it's a weird dichotomy with him at that. Like there's
My
something that I should
my
speak
example.
to. Yeah.
Every time you listen to JD Vance talk about something, he says, we are going to do this. We have done this. We accomplished that. We have a goal. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Every time you hear Trump talk, well, I did this. I did that.
Because one's a politician and one's not. And let's face it, Trump is not a politician. He never has been a politician. He's a businessman. He's a businessman, and his acumen is of such. Whereas JD Vance is a more polished politician. Now, look, has Trump gotten better since 2016? Yes, there's been improvement. You know,
I don't
He's
know.
still
I
not
think
very
you-
professional acting.
No, I don't.
No,
think
I
there's-
agree with that.
I don't think
I
there's
agree with that. He's
improvement.
gotten
I
a little
think
bit
he was
better with it.
smarter on his cabinet picks.
I mean,
than last
Trump
time.
Trump is the least professional appearing president we've
He's
ever
just not
had.
a politician.
Yet,
He doesn't. He's
if
like, I don't
result-
care if you like
results
me.
what-
We're going to make money.
Right.
You know, he's
if
that guy. He's
results
like, I
are
don't.
what
You don't have
matters,
to like.
he is getting a lot of things fixed in terms of results. It's just the way he presents himself is super unprofessional.
Yeah, he's that guy. Is like, you don't have to like me. We just have to work together. He's that kind of guy. And,
Right.
and
Good night,
that's not what we
Christy.
expect
Yeah,
from a
he's
politician.
he's just an asshole president. That's how he breaks down.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, I got to get out of here too, guys. But I'll let you guys stay on and do your thing now.
Oh, I
No, it's
I
not
think we're way over. I'm
we're-
popping smoke too here, you guys. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pop. Hey, but guys, this was great. This is our
All
third episode.
yeah, pretty
You
dope.
know, we're gonna try to make this a more regular thing, right? Right there, Bill.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So thanks for all those in X and Facebook and the YouTube, the one or two YouTube folks. I'm sure we'll get some more watches in the post. Look, it's interesting though, isn't it? How a bunch of us from different backgrounds, different ideologies can sit down and discuss this and not have it turn into a complete shit show for the most part. And actually say and come to the realization that hey, we don't have to listen to our media because our media is only telling us what they want us to hear for whatever point of view they're being paid to profit.
Right.
Yeah.
The reality is this: whether you watch Fox, CNN, I happen to have CNN on right now to see video. Today I've been going back and forth between CNN and Fox. They're going to tell you what they want you to hear.
Yeah.
You know, the best way to do it is
Do your own
sometimes watch
research.
CNN for a bit, then watch Fox for a bit,
Or
and
yeah,
somewhere in the middle
watch
might
Fox.
lie the truth.
You just gotta take the good from both sides, piece it out.
And realize that most of the stuff you're seeing on Facebook and X is sensationalized to get you emotionally involved and then click something or
Yeah.
to act some way. You know, when we can sit here and we actually sit down and talk about it, we realize that, wait, we should probably wait. Of course, this is big news. It's going to be the news cycle for the next 2 or 3 days. It's going to be
Shit, by the
plugging.
next week.
Yeah.
The way it's going.
You know, I mean, because look at the 5-year-old kid story kind of died out once the truth came out. Now this,
Yeah, because the fucking dad abandoned him.
yeah. So
Like,
this
what
will
a piece
die
of
out.
shit, dude.
This will
Fucking
die
abandoned
out.
the kid.
This will die out when the truth comes out, or it could go the opposite direction if the ICE agent was at fault. But, you know, I'm going to reserve judgment on that until we get all the facts.
I can see
Initially, this
another-
is bad for all parties. This is not good for anyone.
All right,
I
guys.
can
I'll
see
talk to
another
you later.
riot breaking out, except it's not the fucking summer of love. It's fucking negative 30 wind chill up there, so
Yeah.
maybe there won't be a riot.
There's still a lot of people out there. They're showing the live video. They've filled up pretty much like a
Yeah.
baseball diamond. But you know what, though? Like, look, if you're in Minneapolis right now and you're like, man, I'm pissed. I want to get out there. Don't. Stay at home. Be with your loved
Exactly.
ones. Wait for the truth to come out. Going out in the streets, they're lighting dumpsters on fire, yelling obscenities at cops. That doesn't help the situation. You want to help the situation, vote in your election. And if your side loses, then you know what? Be big enough to accept that you lost and then vote in the next one.
Stay
You know what I
your
mean?
ass at home and stay
Yeah.
safe.
That's it. Let these guys do their job. You may not agree with it. That's fine. There was an election that was held nationwide. This was one of the main topics that was voted for. It won. The majority had say. Let them do what they're supposed to do. You may not like it, but that's how constitutional republic works.
Hey Ken, I wanted your insight on the new proposed peace table or whatever it was that Trump came up with all the countries.
I haven't seen that one yet. Explain it to
It
me.
was like he invited Russia to the table. They haven't accepted the invitation. There was like India, I think it was Turkey, Brazil, and like there's some like Pakistan and some other countries. Or it was like
What's
like
the state
so it's like so it's like outside of NATO, but it's like
what's the stated objective though?
World peace.
That'd be the Southeast Asia region of the world.
I mean, look at
summit.
He does. For as much as we love or hate him, he does a good job of getting people to the table and does a good job of getting them to talk. And he usually dangles some nice little carrots in front of them too, in order to do so, and to come to these agreements and deals. So, I mean, if his stated goal is to make a more stable region, I'm for that because that benefits you and me because that means trade gets better, trade lanes open, there's less animosity. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Trump cares about. He always says it. He tells people all the time, "We're going to make you a ton of money," right? He's about making people money, right? So, I mean, if he can stabilize the region, that makes trade better. And in some of these countries, excuse me, you get that whole have versus have-nots. If we can make less have-nots by opening up the trades and helping these people's GDPs and helping standards of living go up, then I don't see that as a bad thing. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have your president be the guy that they're all going to thank at the end of the day because that buys your country goodwill. So there's that whole geopolitical stage, and the way they play those games there is completely different than the way we play it at the local level. I mean, you're talking massive tectonic shifts here in national policies and stuff. So
Can I make one super asshole statement before we're done?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my super asshole take of the night. Since basically, I'm just going to say 1991, every time we went to war and had a conflict in the Middle East, we've been accused of fighting wars for oil, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it is. This war was for oil. The war was for oil. The problem with that theory is we never got the fucking oil. So, in the interest of bringing gas and diesel prices down, house utility prices down, now since we started messing with Venezuela, I want us to get the fucking oil this time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, and it's funny because we've always heard the war for oil. Like, you know why?
We've accused of doing it for 35 fucking years, but we never got a drop of it. It's time to get that fucking oil. We fought our ass off, and it's time we get some fucking oil.
The war for oil thing is funny because they forget or they neglect to, okay, war for oil, like Rob says, we're not getting the oil, so why are we there? Strategic strong points on the global scale, like Venezuela. Dude, like that's a centerpiece. Like you control Venezuela, like you can keep China, Russia, Iran out of the Western Hemisphere. If we control Greenland, well, that's a very strategic piece of land between Russia and the United States and Canada.
Yeah, you control the Arctic.
Yeah,
not only that, but it also helps with the Golden Dome.
It's called Monroe Doctrine, and we need to start Monroe Doctrining the fuck out of everybody.
I mean,
Keep
the hard part is
adversaries out of the Western Hemisphere.
Well, here's the thing too.
We have our hemisphere,
and what's making our job harder right now in terms of doing that kind of stuff is what we're seeing happen in Minnesota, what we're seeing happen in Chicago, what we see happen with Gavin Newsom in LA. It's like we're not showing internationally a unified front. A buddy of mine from high school, the day Venezuela happened, within 10 seconds of it breaking, was on Facebook. To the people of Venezuela, I'm sorry, and we don't stand with our government. And I'm like, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. No, he deleted the post after he started finding out more stuff. But the knee-jerk reaction is, oh, Trump did it. It's bad. We must, like, dude, like, your president, you may not like everything he does, but there are some things that he does that actually benefit you, even though you don't like them. You know, like I didn't like Obama per se overall. When he got elected, I was trying to be optimistic about it, right? Because of certain things he said. And look there are a couple programs he did I liked, and there's some things I absolutely could not stand about him, right? But you know what? I didn't go out there in the streets, throwing bricks at cop cars and telling everyone in the world how my president's a piece of shit. I just disagreed with them. And you know what? When the election came and we could vote the next party in, that ideas I agreed with more, I voted for them, and that won, and he won. So I mean that's the way this should work. Like, not every president is going to do everything you like, and they may do the majority of things you don't like because of your political affiliation. But I guarantee you are going to benefit from that president in some way, shape, or form because of some policy they do. Forever, the Republicans were seen as better domestic affairs, and the Dems on here at the home front. And the Dems have some great social programs they've done in the past. Cash for Clunkers. Bill Clinton had a great one, still around today, which is the one where the kids come out of high school, can go work for the government, and they can build like houses and that. What's it called? My buddy did it actually.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of it.
That was the Clinton program, right? And basically, it was like they would build houses for Habitat for Humanity and earn money to go to college, right? So, I mean, there are good programs the Dems have done. There are good programs the Republicans have done. And there are bad programs they both have done. But the way that we are in this society right now where, Trump did it, therefore it's illegal, therefore it's bad, therefore it's tyranny. It's not tyranny when the majority of the people voted for the policy. It's not tyranny when the people's voice were heard and they're executing the people's voice. What is tyranny is when you try to overthrow the election by force, which is what they're doing in Minneapolis right now.
Well, and the overarching point to everything that you've stated, Ken, is everybody is to extreme one side or the other. Here's the thing about life in general. There's very little in this world that is clear, black and white, 10% or less. And of the things that are clear, black and white, even that has been subjugated now. It used to be as where there was one basic universally accepted set of morals. And many years ago, it was always based loosely off of, the 10 Commandments out of the Bible. Murder is wrong. Adultery is wrong. Rape is wrong. Loving your wife is good. Not stealing from your neighbor is good. Stealing from
your taxes is good.
But now people are so angry at the concept of Christianity that anything that has been considered good and moral and righteous in the past, they will actively embrace the exact opposite of it, but then try to say that is the moral upstanding thing because then you're not discriminating against somebody. But Rob, here's the thing. 95% of what we do in life is in a gray area. We live in the gray area. The gray area requires nuance and objective thinking, not subjective thinking.
But even on stuff like, this is a yellow cup. It used to be, that's a yellow cup. Now it's like, that's not a yellow cup. That's a maize cup. And you're wrong. And you're transmasic if you don't call it a maize cup.
Right.
This is the level of stupidity we've gotten to with both sides do it. Something that's like obvious. And they just, no, it's not obvious. Well, wait a minute. We used to live in a society where our news anchors said, hey, today, like if this was back in the 70s, here's how it would have been reported by one of those Hall of Fame broadcasters from back in the day. Today in Minneapolis, Minnesota, an individual was shot by federal authorities while conducting operations. It appears that the person was a protester who had gotten a tussle with law enforcement. An investigation has been launched to see if there's fault of the ICE agent, something along those lines. There wouldn't have been, and even that's probably a little bit too much skewed. There would have been no skewing of it, just facts. A man was shot in Minneapolis under these, and the conditions were ICE was doing an operation and he was there For I don't even know if they'd go that far, to be honest with you. But now everything has, like CNN right now is so dishonest with it because they're not even allowing for they're saying it's a fact that an officer took the gun from Peretti. Well, we don't know that's a fact. They took the gun from Peretti. It could have been another officer's gun that was dislodged. The coloration of the gun from the video we see, you can't tell. Is that an all black gun or is that because the gun that Peretti had was not all black, or was it Peretti's gun and there was a negligent discharge from that firearm? We don't know. But CNN, well, the fact of the matter is they just killed him. No, that's not the fact of the matter. We still have more evidence, and Fox will do the opposite. So I mean, our news media is pretty bad at that. They don't give us the information we should get, and even when something's plainly obvious, like look what's been forgetting in Minnesota right now, all the scams for those daycares where it was the Leering Center.
Right.
Well, that doesn't say Leering, it says learning. No, it says learning. I can spell. It says learning.
They also misspelled the street Nicollet.
Yeah. So I mean, our media sucks. I think it's great that we can have these kind of conversations, in a forum.
The nice thing, one of the best changes in the world that happened is when Elon Musk bought Twitter and swung that influence, because it is the only place where the media has been called out. They've lost so much of their influence on a national stage, but yet they still continue to cling to their hard line. Of the left stuff
with X, because you can get yourself into an echo chamber if you allow it.
You can, but it's also the one spot where if you're trying to do an objective instead of a subjective search on things, you can actually find the truth.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, Grok is pretty good. And I'm having my own little issue with X right now because X support sucks ass. But I mean, Grok is actually pretty good at trying to give you facts. And when it gives you something that's not a fact, it tells you, well, the opinion, or it'll say something to the effect like, well, I don't have the actual fact in this. It is of the opinion of X that this happened. Like, it'll let you know when it's giving you an opinion because it doesn't have the cold fact. So Grok does a pretty good job of not leaning one way or the other and being objective when you're doing a search. But like any other AI, it just depends on how you word your search. You can skew Grok to answer left or right if you word it properly.
Right.
But if you just ask objective questions, you will get objective responses back from Grok. So, the other piece about this, guys, and I don't understand this. Like, okay, like I don't understand like the media. Like Fox isn't really reporting it. CNN is doing a whole thing about this dude's background. Like his background has no bearing on what he did today.
No, none whatsoever.
I don't, and to me, it's dishonest journalism in a way because they're trying to evoke an emotional response from the viewer to be even more pissed off about this.
Well, yeah, ICE just executed the distant cousin of Jesus Christ himself because of how much of a saint he was working at the VA hospital, taking care of veterans.
You know what's sad?
They don't word.
It's sad. It is absolutely sad.
No, and what's sad about it, like with Renee Good, when that first happened, they gave us, she was this, that, and then all of a sudden, all her criminal records start coming out, right? And her divorce proceedings and her criminal records and they're like, well, she wasn't the little angel you said she was. And this was the lady they said was like, well, it was their Charlie Kirk. And I was like, wow.
And she was a paid protester, a trained and paid agitator. Turns out that she was blocking traffic for 13 minutes before they finally went to move her. She did hit the guy.
You would think the media would have learned
or not. You
would think the media would have learned by now to like hold off on that shit until they get more. I mean, I get it. The news game is he who gets it first gets the money. I get that. But you know what? Up until CNN, ABC, NBC, and Fox, or ABC, NBC, and CBS, the big three at the time, their news departments lost money every year. It was a given they would lose money. You know what I'm saying? And then CNN came in and became the 24-hour news cycle. And hey, that was great. If you're a third shifter, you can get home and see the news, right? And then but they started making money. So then Fox goes, well, we want some of this money. And now you have Fox and CNN. Now you've got a race to get it first and blah, blah, blah. And getting it right getting it right over time is taking more and more of a back seat because now I got to get it right. I got to pay my advertisers. These guys 10, 15, 20 million dollars a year to host these shows. Like, dude, news is big business. It's not news anymore.
No,
you know, I
Yeah.
mean, they don't even care about getting it right, and now they're
It's
so
all,
politically
it's
stiff
all,
when
it's
they're wrong.
all, it's all a monopoly with the media now.
Well, yeah, because CNN, look at some point, CNN and Fox got together and said, "Look, we need to stop competing against each other for the same pie. So we're going to go right, you go left,
and
and
we're
we'll
just trying to
dominate.
survive because
We'll
social
dominate our
media.
respective sectors. And
Yeah,
we'll
we're
both
just
make
trying
money.
to survive because social media has the potential to put us all out of business because we're all full of shit.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
now on social media, you don't have to fact check stuff. I mean, look at the stuff you've been seeing on Facebook that's so egregiously wrong, and then you look at all the people. Oh yeah, you're right. Blah 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 blah. They don't even don't look for things for themselves. Don't you tell them to look for themselves? Oh, that's a lie. Really? You know, like the 5-year-old kid thing. There are still people who think that ICE went and arrested this kid.
No, they didn't arrest him. They showed up and the kid was abandoned.
Yeah, the father ran and left his kid there.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
Well, why did they deport the kid? Because the father said he wanted his son to go with him.
Just showing outside, scared, not knowing what the fuck's going on. Like, where the fuck did my dad go?
And they're like, well, why did this kid end up in Texas? Because the kid's father said he wanted his son to be with him. So they're going to deport the child with the father at the father's request. Well, what about his mother? You know, that's a very good question. There's probably a legal thing.
She could probably be back in their home country, possibly.
No, someone said that the kid's mother was there. I have not seen that.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about it except for that they.
But see, that's the thing. Then you get people who just say stuff and you say, well, where was it? Well, I don't know. Like, well, if you're going to quote it, I mean, look, I get mad when there's like videos that are readily available all over the place that we scroll through. And will show me the videos. Like, dude, I saw that video 2 hours ago. I'm not going to be able to do a search through all of Facebook to find it. But come on, we've all seen it by this point. It's been out.
Well, and then here's the other thing.
Oh, man.
DHS, I only knew about this because DHS came out and said, hey, guess what? The media is full of shit. This kid was abandoned by his father. He was not detained by ICE. Yeah. He was rescued by ICE until they could get him to a responsible guardian. Well, you show that to the liberals. Well, DHS and they all lie. ICE lies and DHS lies. It's like, all right, fuck off. At some point, just fuck off. You know, you can be
It's funny because
the light of day as much as possible, and then you're just you can be, when you're 100% proven wrong. Well, they just lied to you. Okay, whatever. You're
well, Rob, you know what though? Like, I look at it this way though. It's like it's another great paradigm we can show with how stupid the political system's gotten. COVID, the vaccine specifically. So Trump does the rush job to get a vaccine created with the 3 companies, right? The vaccine comes out while Trump's in office. He says, "Hey guys, we got the vaccine. We're going to prioritize it to those who are most at risk. So if you're elderly or whatnot, we'd like you to get the shot. We're not going to mandate it, but we'd like you to, and we're going to make it available." And you saw all these people up. I'm not going to take the Trump death vaccine, right? You guys remember seeing this stuff, right? Oh, Trump death vaccine, he's going to kill you, blah, blah, blah. It's all bad. Joe Biden takes office. Everyone must take this vaccine. The same people said, I'm not going to take this death vaccine. Now it's mandatory or you're killing us all. It was literally the same exact shot, right? The only difference was that Biden was now president. Therefore, it's no longer a death vaccine. Well, wait a minute. That makes no sense to me. Just last month, you were saying this is a death vaccine. Now it's our savior because Biden's president? That's how stupid our politics are.
Right.
It's orange man bad, no matter what.
Well, Tim was on here and he just left. We'll see if he pops back up in.
Yeah, but he saw what I was saying about the vaccine. He was like, "Yep." I mean, and like, oh, well, if people start asking you, I love this one. I've been seeing it float around Facebook and X. People asking me to show my citizenship is unconstitutional. I mean, like showing you a vaccine card.
Yeah, they don't like it when you hit them with that.
So, well, David, you see how mad he gets when I mention Florida. I mention Florida not because I live here, but because they don't have the issues.
I
Because
just
they're local.
I didn't understand why he raged out and just said fuck Florida.
Because look, as much as I like David's choice of football team, politically, when you prove him wrong, this is what he does, and this is what a lot of left people do in general. You prove them wrong, they throw a tantrum and they leave. Florida doesn't have these issues. Why? Because the government cooperates.
Way earlier in the show, Chrissy made a point, and I don't know if the comments are still around.
They're here.
Hold on. I want to come back, and I want to talk about this one. I just found it. All right.
Right.
Obama did mass deportations without sending thousands of heavily armed men into individual cities. Ha ha. Okay, you're half right. Obama did mass deportations, but he did send thousands of heavily armed men into individual
Yes, he
cities.
did.
The difference is you didn't have a poopy pants fucking diaper wearing 3-year-old acting fucking governor and an entire government full of fucking shitty juvenile imbecile acting people that told 3 million of their citizenry in the metropolitan area to actively fight these guys.
Well, look, I'll give her a little more credit to where she's right there. But then at the same time, the reason that she's right, like, yeah, they didn't have this massive surge of however many ICE agents are in Minneapolis. But that then goes right back to what you just said, because they didn't have to have 80% of the force there just on protection detail.
Right, the 20%.
That's the difference. Like they just you would have a 5-man team go out and do their job, not a 15-man team. Right now, they have to do a 15-man team for what a 5-man team could do because you got to have full security. So yeah, but that's the funny thing is, like, she'll sit there and say, I'm right, but you're right only because you've created the conditions by which they have to send more people.
I go higher than that, Ken, because it's so bad out there. You know, you and I have both been at the strategic level on staff and done MDMP and come up with operation orders, fragmentation orders.
Yep.
It's a 4-to-1 ratio, and we don't execute a plan or assault the objective unless we're pretty confident we have a 4-to-1. I'm pretty sure ICE is operating with a 4-to-1, and that 4 is their security to their 1 doing the work. And that's fucking pathetic.
It didn't used to be that way. Can you imagine if their SOP was like a 5-man team to go arrest an individual? Could you imagine if they were just saying 5-man teams out to arrest people in like Minneapolis right now?
They probably have 25 on the security detail while the 5-man stack is doing what they're supposed to.
That's what I'm saying. The 5-man stack wouldn't be able to do their job because they'd be getting assaulted by civilians, and they'd have civilians ripping the people away from them. They have to have this perimeter with all this. I mean, and that's the thing. And so David gets mad because I bring up in Florida, we've deported 10,000 people off the streets here or so, and we don't have these riots, we don't have these issues. Why? Because all our government at all levels work with the federal government to help them execute what is federal law. Here's the other thing people don't get right. Well, I don't think it's right they're deporting illegals. That's nice. Federal law doesn't agree with you. ICE isn't just randomly picking people up and deporting people. They're executing federal law. Federal law dictates that these illegal aliens, whether they're criminals in terms of they've created armed robbery or rape, or if their only crime was coming across the border illegally and not having proper documentation, right? They're tasked with the job of removing these people from the country. So all these like distinctions that people try to make doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, their ICE's only job is to take people who are not here legally and remove them. Point blank, period. Now, they've started out by saying, look, we're going to go after the worst of the worst first, which is a good thing. You should get rid of the murderers, the rapists, the criminals who are committing other crimes while in this country. Or if they have in their home country, they're awaiting murder charges. Yes, please get rid of them. But at the end of the day, their job is also to get rid of that nice guy at the corner who's selling tamales and has no prior history of criminal activity, but entered this country illegally. It is also their job by federal law to arrest that person and process them to be sent back to their home of origin.
And
now,
that's
if
the
you don't
other
like that
biggest
policy,
lie.
then elect people are going to change the law.
That's the other biggest lie. Like, I seen the Border Patrol chief, Dan Bovino, in the lawmaking facility there in St. Paul at their capital.
Yep.
And there was a younger elected state Democrat. That's the DFL in Minnesota. It's the Democrat Farmer Labor Party. And I'm not from Minnesota, but I do know that much. And she was sitting there trying to argue with him, and he just looked at her like she was nuts every time he opened her mouth. She's like, well, being in the country illegally is not a crime. Yes, ma'am, it is. Well,
And then
it's a civil matter. It's a civil matter. It's not a criminal one. I know that's what the news told you, but yet they're wrong. It's U.S. Code Title 8S, blah, 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 rattles it right off. It's actually a criminal offense, and it's a felony. Well,
actually, there's some
the whole time. It's one of the most absurd videos you'll ever see in your life.
I've seen it.
Have you?
Yeah, in fact, there's a guy. He's a legal immigrant. I think he's German. He's a legal immigrant, and he came through here. He can't immigrate legally, and he even broke down like the immigration process. Like even when he was in his green card status, he had to have documentation on at all times. He's like this thought that a legal immigrant, that as an immigrant you don't have to carry paperwork. You do until you become a U.S. citizen. You have to carry paperwork showing you're here legally. And if you're here illegally, then guess what? You've committed, and he broke down there like 3 different crimes that you commit by being here illegally, right? By crossing the border through illegal means, and part of one of the things you're also illegal for is not having proper documentation. So when they say, well, they're just undocumented is the same thing as they're here illegally. That guy is brilliant. But I saw that lawmaker, and that's the other problem. You have lawmakers out there, and some on the congressional level, that don't even know the law, and they're telling people ICE aren't cops, they're not law enforcement, when in fact they are. Being here undocumented is not a crime, when in fact it is a crime.
Yes.
Don Lemon was out there trying to educate people in the city of Chicago, and these people educated made him look like a fool as he tried to berate them. Because he was saying, I mean,
guess who's getting arrested on the fucking federal KKK act?
Did they finally get him? Well, I heard that magistrate turned it down. Did they find a magistrate who would okay his arrest?
I'm pretty sure they're doing it at the federal level, and they're charging.
Yeah, they did, but there was a magistrate when they made the other 3 arrests. They asked them to arrest Lemon, and that magistrate said no.
Oh,
so that means they have to go either to another magistrate or get him on a grand jury indictment.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. All I seen was that they were going to get him.
No, but he should be arrested. He's not a journalist anymore. He's not a journalist. He has no real credentials anymore. I don't believe. I mean, the guy's an idiot, and he gets proven. I remember he told this one guy. He goes, "Well, were you better off under Trump or better off under Biden?" And the guy said, "Well, I'm better off under Trump." He goes, "No, you weren't." He's like, "Yeah, I was. I know what my bank account said." And then Don Lemon tried to tell him what his bank account said, and the guy's looking at Don Lemon like, "Dude, you're a fucking idiot. I just told you I was better off with Trump than I was under Biden." "No, you weren't." "Okay, you lived my life for me, I guess, Don." And he walked off. It was hilarious.
I mean, it's not like Don Lemon's butthole hasn't been repaired 4 times already by surgery because of his boyfriend. I don't think going to prison is going to hurt him any. Pretty well used to it. So,
but the problem is we get these politicians, even at the federal level, like Crockett. She's another one. And they don't even know their own laws. They're advising people on when they go talk on the national media scale, and they tell people things that are not just inherently not true, just flat out lies. And people gravitate towards these people and create this issue. Like, just be honest. But look at all the politicians who were posting on Facebook and X after the situation with the 5-year-old and all the shit they were saying. And they were factually incorrect, even with what we knew at the time they posted. They lied anyway because they know it's going to get people emotional and it's going to get votes for them. And they're trying to rally support this way, which is the most dishonest way to do it. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't, if you want to win election, don't stop trying to pull at my heartstrings. I don't care. Get off my lawn, right?
I don't want feelings. I want quantifiables, and I want a plan on how you're going to guarantee me results. I don't give a fuck about how good of a talker you are, although Trump does. I mean, he's embarrassing sometimes. A lot of times when he opens his fucking mouth, but he is providing quantifiable results. You know, I don't care about your feel good crap. I don't care about any stuff. Fuck your feelings. I want stuff fixed. I want a plan that makes sense.
Yep.
It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to decipher all the weasel words in it. Give me a straight up, no nonsense, no bullshit, logical plan to fix issue A, B, and C. Give me a
here's the
time
sad
frame,
thing.
how much money it's going to cost, and what the end result's going to be, and let me know how I can believe you as a politician that you're going to deliver on this.
Well,
then you got my vote.
Well, here's the sad thing. The Democrats, the only thing they're running on a lot of these elections is, if elected, I'll impeach Trump. That's their platform.
I know. That's why they haven't been winning anything lately. Because we're going to impeach Trump is not a fucking platform at all.
Oh, we're gonna get rid of ICE. Well, that'll work in some districts, but considering the most of the country, and the reason they're doing what they're doing now is they want people who voted for this to vote against it in the future. I mean, that's their tactical thinking here. But it's like, at the end of the day, man, just like, why are you impeding ICE? Like, and you know what's going to be funny? And this will be the October surprise, right before midterms. Here will be the October surprise this year. Mark my words. Tim Walz is going to have a U.S. Marshal show up at his front doorstep and arrest him on federal charges for all the embezzlement and issues in Minnesota for all that money.
It's going to be Tim Walz. It'll be Keith Ellison, the State Attorney General. It'll be the Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and then sorry about my dogs, man.
No, that's fine.
Probably half or more of all the state elected representatives.
Man, this guy had a nice. I mean, this dude. Okay, they're showing the gun. It was white, black, and gold with a nice sight on it. The video that we see an all black gun.
It was not a nice. It's a 6 Sauer P320. It basically is the M8 or the M9.
Right, but I mean,
it's 6 Sauer's cheap ass freaking version.
Oh yeah, but it looks nice.
So basically, what you're saying is it's a piece of shit, Rob.
No, Rob. But Rob, what I'm saying is that video that everyone says how they disarmed him. That gun, when you see on TV, it looks like it's an all black.
Yeah, it looks like it's black.
This gun is not all black. It's a white hand. It's got a white handle. It's got gold. The main slide is gold, and it's got this big ass sight on it, which is not black either. So I'm wondering if that really was his gun, or just shitty video.
The one I seen, they had the 6 Sauer Holosun optic, which means that it was all bought in as a package deal at the store. Yeah. To me, when I zoomed in and looked at everything on that pistol, that thing looks like it's hardly ever been shot at all. There's no slide wear from practicing, holstering, unholstering.
So it could be for show.
That 6 Sauer, the 6 Sauer version of the Holosun holographic red dot sight and everything, that thing looks spotless, like it had just been put on there that morning. I'm really questioning whether this guy really had any kind of training whatsoever, or what it takes in Minnesota to get a carry conceal permit.
I mean,
because he did everything wrong that you could possibly do wrong for that.
And it's funny because now we see a lot of states where we're going to open carry, or Florida, you don't need a concealed carry license anymore. Now you can just carry.
Yeah. I mean, there certainly wasn't no EOTech or Trigicon or Vortex sight on that thing. That was bought in as a package deal at probably Bass Pro Shop or some dumb shit like that.
And the other thing is on the NRA
or fucking Cabela.
Right.
Look,
and it looks the NRA. Like you look at the barrel when they had the slide block back and everything. That thing looked like it was brand new from the factory. Like
CNN is making a big deal of an NRA press release on.
I mean,
because someone said basically about he shouldn't have been carrying the firearm. There was a comment about him carrying the firearm. The NRA said, "Hey, wait a minute, 2A rights." And the CNN is going, "Oh, look at even the NRA is against ICE now and against the Trump administration." And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Once again, more dishonesty. I don't think the NRA is saying that this guy should have brought a firearm to a protest and then physically engaged cops. What the NRA will say is this guy had a right to carry a firearm. He had a right to protest, but he maybe shouldn't have engaged police officers while carrying a firearm.
Yeah, you have the right to carry a firearm and you have the right to attend a protest. But if you combine carrying a firearm with attending a protest, then interfering with an official act and impeding an investigation, and then you resist arrest,
Yeah.
you've kind of done fucked up a lot. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean,
And
bad decisions were made today.
Oh, Darren's got something to add.
And on that note, the National Guard is now on the scene.
I heard that, and that is a bad idea as well.
Yeah.
You know
National
what?
Guard,
I mean,
4 hours ago, National Guard Humvees have pulled up.
so here's the thing. And Tim Wall's like, well, because I did it, they're going to be okay with it. No, they're not. Because you've been, Newsom and Tampon Tim and all these other people have been demonizing the National Guard in DC and all these other places so much. Dude, just because Tim Walz activated them doesn't mean they're not going to act a certain way. They've been programmed to think they're the enemy. They're not going to just turn it off because Tim Walz says, well, I did it.
2 weeks ago or a week ago, whenever they were talking about the National Guard, the Minnesota National Guard on social media released a thing that said, we are on standby. They showed a picture of 2 soldiers wearing the high vis, reflective yellow vest. And I said, you'll be able to tell the National Guard apart from other agencies because we're going to be wearing yellow high vis stuff. How underhanded of a fucking statement is that, basically saying attack the other guys and not the ones wearing the yellow vest?
Well, yeah, but you got to remember the tag.
Some of the worst stupid fucking shit I've ever seen.
I agree with you. But
department ever.
But you got to remember the tag is a politically
Well,
appointed
I mean,
general.
you should
Adjutant
already
general is not a general appointed by the Department of War.
You
The
should-
tag,
it's
you start
appointed by
general
the
in
government.
charge. For people who don't understand the National Guard system,
You should
every
be able
state has
to
a tag.
tell National
Hold on,
Guard
every state,
uniform from
every
ICE
state has.
uniform.
For those who don't understand the National Guard system, every state's National Guard has a tag, the Adjutant General. It's a 2-star general that runs that state's National Guard.
That
It
person's
is a
appointed by the
politically
government.
appointed position. Now, the only qualifying piece militarily is this: the officer had to have held the rank of at least major at one point or another. So technically, I could be Governor DeSantis calling me up right now and appoint me as a tag of the Florida National Guard. It's a political appointment, and they're not necessarily a general like you see the generals that work at the Pentagon. Now, there are some true 1-star and true 2-star generals in the National Guard where they got promoted legitly through boards from colonel to general. But for the most part, these adjutant generals are 2-star generals that were appointed. And also that means as soon as they leave that position, they either revert back to their old rank or they retire.
Right. So, just for instance, the Iowa National Guard right now, the tag is Major General Stephen Osborne. He was my brigade commander as a full bird colonel for 2nd Brigade, 2nd of the 34th, the Rider Brigade in Iowa. When his time was up, he received his 1-star, and he was the Deputy Adjutant General Maneuver for the state, because you have maneuver, you have sustainment, and you've got a couple other 3, 4 1-stars running around, not counting the air part of it and everything. And then he was selected over his peers when Major General Orr retired to become the Adjutant General, and he's the guy that is currently the tag. A lot of times they'll follow a process, but yes, you are correct. I have heard of a governor just going and getting somebody that's politically aligned with them because the entire Joint Forces headquarters is packed with such toxic leadership that they'll take a major that at least has the correct vision of where the governor wants to go with that and make him the tag. However,
So, knowing all that,
something else people need to understand about the National Guard is the National Guard is 100,000 fucking percent federally funded all the time, unless there is a state disaster where they're called up on statewide active duty. That is SWAD. That is very seldom. That's when you have a massive flood. That's when you have a tornado or a hurricane or something like that.
And 99% of their training guidance comes from DOD or DOW now.
Right.
The Department of War,
the National Guard uses the National Guard abides by Army regulations. There's no National Guard standard. It's the Army standard.
Yep.
Right? They train to Army standards. They train to Army time. They train to Army metrics. And they have Army equipment. That's why National Guard's uniforms say U.S. Army and not, the state of Iowa.
But Rob, like, we go through this, so we go through all this so I can clean up or let people understand your comment about what the National Guard did in Minnesota. Knowing that it's a politically appointment and that the governor can fire the tag whenever he wants, that message definitely came down from the governor's office. And here's what you're going to say when we mobilize you. And here's what you're going to do. There is a piece that people need to understand. So when the Minnesota National Guard says or does something that seems to be aligned, it's not the Army. The United States Army has not aligned itself with Governor Walz. It's Governor Walz is telling his appointed two-star that he appoints, he can fire at will. Here is what you're going to say. The irony of it is the federal government has, in terms of Pete Hegseth, he could turn around and do some things too. Now, we haven't gotten to this pissing contest because you get the whole states' rights issue. But there is a weird line too with states' rights and the states' right, the states' actual rights with their guard and the federal government. So while they're not under Title 10, they can kind of get away with it. But if for any reason they're federalized, then Tim Walz can't say shit.
Right. And here's the thing that Trump or Hegseth, well, it would have to come from Trump and then it would go through Hegseth. But if for any reason, all these Minnesota National Guard soldiers that have just been brought on to statewide active duty, which is Title 32, if for any reason it displeases the Trump administration, even though they are on statewide active duty, Title 32,
they can federalize them.
He can federalize them like that. They're over to Title 10. They no longer answer to Walz. They answer directly to the Pentagon.
And for people watching, going, wait a minute, how can you do it? It happens all the time. Like, people live in the Mississippi River Delta. Dude, and the Mississippi was flooding. It was statewide active duty for flood relief. And the federal government, within 24 hours, federally activated them.
Yeah.
So basically what would happen here is President Trump would be like, yeah, Governor Walz is right. This is a mission we need a National Guard for. Let's not make them use state funds. We're going to pay for it federally. Hey, Secretary Hegseth, federalize them and pay them with federal dollars.
And let me caveat on this. This is why this is important. When you're National Guardsman and you are activated on Title 32 statewide active duty by the governor, you do not accrue your retirement points. You do not accrue your BAH, your BAS, which is basic allowance, basic allowance subsistence. You do not accrue a lot of the things that you normally would if you are federalized on Title 10, and your pay isn't the same as what it would be if you're paid by your full rank and everything while on Title 10. That's why when the governor pulls the trigger, it's only usually about a 24-hour window before the federal government catches up and goes back and supersedes it and backdates the orders to Title 10. So you actually got all your full benefits and you're accruing that time towards your retirement and everything else.
So now, before you complain about it, understand that when they do that, it's actually beneficial for the service members.
Absolutely.
Now the service members are getting their better pay, and they're accruing credit towards retirement and things that are beneficial towards them.
Yes.
If you're on statewide active duty, if one of these guys on statewide active duty orders gets hurt by a protester, gets run over by a protester's car, let's say that happens. Guess what? TRICARE and the system is not going to be responsible for it when they get out of service and they go to the VA and claim disability. VA is going to say, yep, sorry, can't do nothing for you. It was on state active duty.
Go see what your state will do because you weren't on federal orders. And something else people need to know, I kind of started hinting on this earlier, and you did have a good point to cut in and interject there. I want to make it crystal clear to people. When your neighbor next door leaves one weekend a month and goes to guard drill, that is not being paid by the state. That is federal.
Yep.
They will get an LES from DFAS, which is Defense Finance Accounting Services in Indianapolis. That is federal money on weekend guard drills. The 2 or 3 weeks during the summer, federal freaking money. All the schools they go to, federal money.
Federal.
Every single penny of it for
now,
the National Guard is
some
federal.
of you are going to say, but wait a minute, I'm in the guard and it comes from Stark and it comes from the tag. It's
Yes.
federal money that was sent to the National Guard. So basically what happens, like I'm gonna send Rob to a school, okay, and I've got a budget for my state for schools.
Probably send
And I
me a
send Rob
couple
that school. So
times.
they're like, yeah, but you just use state money. No. The state got that money from the federal government. So
Yeah,
let me,
when you're on orders for anything higher than a weekend drill, that's just Title 10. And you accrue
think of it this way.
active
The money
duty
is like
retirement points for being on those orders.
it's almost like I gave Rob allowance money and said, Rob, here's your allowance, go spend it. And it's like, okay, I want to spend it on X. He's still using my money. It's not his money, right? I'm saying use this money to prepare your podcast. And he goes and takes the money and he buys a microphone and a mixer board that still came from money from up high. It wasn't from the state. So it's gonna be funny if Trump does decide to federalize the National Guard on this activation. I can't wait to watch heads explode.
I think he should, just for the sake of the soldiers that had no choice and got called up. They need to have their benefits and their retirement points. But the thing of it is, it's going to make it look like Trump is just trying to ram it up Wallace's ass. Well, actually, it's in the best interest of the soldiers for their career.
And you know what's sad? No matter how much they explain that, the dumb liars like Crockett will go out there and yell in the top of their lungs, he's being a dictator, blah, blah, blah. And it's not that. He's actually protecting the soldiers by doing that. And it gives them more protections under the UCMJ. It gives them more protections from the VA for their health. It gives them their benefits. Under state orders, they could do something that will actually hurt them where it wouldn't necessarily hurt them on federal orders.
Yeah, statewide active duty. I actually got paper checks that I had to sign and go deposit at the bank. One time out of my 4 times of doing statewide active duty for disasters in 29 years of being in the National Guard. And yeah, those weeks spent doing that. And I ran operations. We have Black Hawks in the air above the levees every day. I ran the daytime operations cell. And yes, we were out surveying everything, dropping in and out. And you know how much I hate flying on helicopters. That was a miserable 2 weeks for me, Ken. But they never did come back and backdate us and give us federal on that. So that 3 weeks or whatever, or 2 weeks, whatever it was, this is back in 10 and 11. And it was down in Council Bluffs in Omaha that flooded out. And I took state pay. I was an E7 at that point in time, back in 2010. Yeah, I was an E7 because I didn't get E8 until 2016. The pay wasn't there, and then it got taxed, and it's like I made probably about half of what I would have if I had been on Title 10 federal orders. Here's
the thing, though. I want to let other people know. Like, I've been in the National Guard, I've been in the U.S. Army Reserve, and I've been active duty. Right, so I've done all 3 of the Army. Now, there is one thing the National Guard does do differently. The other branches don't do with consistency. They do riot control training. We had at least one battle assembly a year. We'd put on the riot suits and get the batons out and the shields and practice movement and practice riot control. We did it once a year. Most people thought of it like a joke. It was decent training, but it wasn't great training. But that's more training than, say, your active component guys get on a regular basis or your U.S. Army Reserve guys get. So they do receive some training on how to deal with mass protests. That's why Trump wants to use them, because they do have that training. He could send in the U.S. Army Reserve to a certain degree, but it makes sense for the Guard because they have some training in these areas. So when these pundits going to say, well, the Army doesn't train. Well, no, you're right. The regular Army doesn't, but the National Guard does.
Some units in the National Guard do.
Yeah, and when I was in the Illinois Guard and the Missouri Guard, every unit, it was mandatory, had to do at least one battle.
I can tell you that states that actually have a brigade combat team, that the focus is on LSCO, which is large scale combat operations, and then some COIN, which is counterinsurgency and stuff like that. Unless there's a specific mission that is known coming up, it's usually the regional support group, which is the RSG.
Yeah, the Combat Service Support Bubbas.
Yeah, the CSSBs. they'll send some of their people because they're the ones that have the MP units. So the MP units already know all this shit, and that's why the actual brigade combat team, whether it's infantry, armor, or striker, usually doesn't do any of that riot or crowd control training stuff.
And now the Democrats are threatening to shut the government down unless they defund ICE.
Jesus Christ. All right, we've been at it for 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I really do need to go. You guys, it's been a fun time tonight. So
we'll do this again.
So I figured out what that thing I was talking about. So Trump is proposing the Board of Peace. That's what it was called.
Hey, I'm all for it, Darren.
The Board of Peace.
Oh, okay.
If it works,
and
what's the harm in trying?
And Putin is donating $1 billion in frozen assets to it.
Look, if it works, cool. If it doesn't work, what do we really lose?
Yeah, if we're making everybody else finally pitch in for once ever, instead of us footing the bill for fucking everything, then yeah, it's probably
and people are gonna. And you know what people are gonna do, Darren? They're gonna key in on Putin. But you know what though? Like, as much as Putin's been ostracized, and rightfully so ostracized for attacking Ukraine, if he's brought back into a situation where he could do something globally positive like this, it might make it easier for him to get to a peace deal with Ukraine. See, Trump plays, like, all of us are playing chess, and Trump's on like a 4D chess board or something, because this dude's thinking like upon levels way beyond everyone else when it comes to this shit. Like, we're all looking at the chessboard going, oh, wait a minute. He's like, dude, you're looking at the wrong chessboard. You know what I mean? Like, but if you think about it, if he can get Putin involved in something that's positive,
I tell you what, the mess with the Ukraine is a whole nother 2 hours that I don't have time to sit here tonight. That's
we don't.
The next show. I'm telling you, the best case scenario is somebody actually accidentally touches off the biggest megaton nuke you ever seen on the border, and it takes out the Ukraine and Russia would be best case scenario. But that's a different show for a different topic. These motherfuckers. So, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. We'll see you guys later. Been fun. Thank you.
Have a good one, Rob.
Have a good one.
Yep, Darren, you got any more questions real quick before we call it a day? Cool. Thank you, everyone, for watching us on X and everywhere else. We'll be back to do it again. Hey, be vocal and ask us questions or opinions. Obviously, you can tell we hit everyone that commented today. That's the beautiful thing. We don't have to agree, but at least we can kind of find some commonalities.
Yeah, just find a middle ground and talk.
Yep.
All
right, man. You have a good night, Darren.
You too.
All right. Peace out.
Bye.